want to start by saying I'm sorry that we're late. And the reason I want to say that is because sometimes I enjoy practicing lying, because I'm actually not that sorry. Y'all, the reason why we're late today is the worst reason I've ever had. Because it isn't like, usually it's I'm not feeling well, which by the way, I have not felt well this whole time. But in this scenario, I might have just been like, Alyssa, why don't you go live without me and I'll pop in when I start feeling better. And that might happen throughout the night. I don't know. But in reality, what actually happened was my neighbor is having like a fire thing going on. And I went out back to let out my dog and we were talking. I was like, by the way, do you guys need more wood? I've got scrap wood. He's like, yeah, we take your scrap wood. And I have so much scrap. For those of you who don't know, I'm a woodworker also. I have so much scrap wood that I was like, there's only 3 minutes to the show. So I'm going to be late, but getting rid of this scrap wood will make my life so much better. And so
my favorite part of this is when you said it to me as well. You said my neighbor is having a fire thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, and do you mean they have a fire at their house? Like, is their house on fire and you're going to help? Because that would imply that you'll be gone for more than 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, what do you mean a fire thing?
The place is on fire. Yeah, no, that's fair. I should have been more specific, but I was being very fast because I was running and I was like, y'all, y'all don't know. I got to get rid of this wood. I got to get rid of this wood, which is a thing I used to have to say. Sometimes you'd wake up right before school and you would be like, oh my God, I got to quickly get to school. And then you're like, whoa, and you're rushing and then you get like to the school and then you're like, oh my God. No.
I feel like everyone has had the experience of, I got to get rid of this wood. And it's either they are experiencing it themselves, or at some point it's been used as coercion, unfortunately. But I can't tell you how many times it's been like, especially when you're in like high school or middle school, where I feel like that's a thing. And it's like, you're yuck, and figure that out.
I will say there's an interesting conversation that's happened here where, first of all, let's be clear. Well, I'm going to say there's problems on both sides. The coercive side is the much worse side. I'm not even saying they're comparable. But there's now a movement of people who want to claim blue balls don't exist at all. That it's just for the sake of coercion.
So, okay, so I feel confused about this because what we learn, like on a science front, is that there's nothing that is happening biologically.
Incorrect.
But it's such a commonly felt experience. Yeah, like that I can't imagine that that's actually true. No, so I feel like
I can fix this without mansplaining to you. I can mansplain where you should go get your information. There is an amazing podcast called Science Versus, ran by a wonderful woman named Wendy Zuckerman. I think she's from New Zealand. I fucking love Science Versus. And they did one on blue balls. And it is correct that what people thought blue balls was, that isn't happening. What is most likely happening, because there are some people who will get blue balls even after ejaculating. And what is most likely happening is that your body has sent the signal to fill the area with blood, which when you get an erection, yes, an erection is something, but it also swells the veins that are in the entire area. You have an increased flow of blood. And that a new signal to fill the area with blood, or just a signal that hasn't happened yet to release that blood happens, and then the blood compounds and you actually have veins full of blood, not a lot of people think it's like sperm is backing up into and that's not happening. And that's totally wrong. It's actually the blood that is constricting the testicles. People go to the hospital for it too, like that it gets so bad. And it's funny because you know where those things happen the most? In places where anti-masturbation movements are bigger. And so doctors are literally having to say, you need to ejaculate and it will stop hurting, or eventually it will, or you can just stick through it. It is 100% real. It is not called congested prostate. For the person who says it is real, it's called congested prostate because your prostate is not a part of it. I have also experienced it. Now, obviously, as a man, people are just going to be like, I don't believe it's real, so I'm just going to assume he's lying because he coerced. I never used it to coerce somebody. However, at one point, having a very bad instance of it, I did have a significant other ask, because I didn't know what it was, a young Mormon who was fooling around with a girl who wasn't supposed to be a hypocrite. She had asked a friend about the experience I was having, and she was just like, oh yeah, this is what it is, and this is what you got to do. And she did offer to relieve me for it, upon which I did. But we were doing that stuff every day after school anyway. It wasn't a new experience. It wasn't a thing that wouldn't have happened anyway.
Right.
Never used it to be coercive. Anybody who says like I have blue balls, therefore you must, is a fucking liar. If you don't want to, they can handle it. Not only can they handle it, here's the thing that is for me, and maybe it's because this isn't chewed gum tonight, by the way, but we're still going to make the whole thing about
any room that I'm in ends up being sexual. And that's either because of my job or my face or my butt. I don't know, but that's just the way that it's just been, since high school.
I assume it's mostly your job, but I guess, yeah, I mean, I also, when given the opportunity, this is what I love to talk to about the most. I've told you that a million times when we do podcasts
it's
together.
It's just so fun.
It's
so fun.
I don't know why a person usually would want another person to relieve it for them. And here's my point on that. Maybe I'm not trying to brag about anything, so I'm going to try and make things as objective, but I'm not in the category of people for whom it is easy to make climax. In other words, it's going to take time. It's going to take effort. There needs to be a psychological component to it as well. As far as casual hookups go, I've had lots of casual hookups where I never finished the task at all myself, but the other person did. But I can reliably take care of myself in like 4 minutes, because it's not even like a sexual experience at that point. It's like, okay, the function is to get this. Like, yeah, you learn at some point too, if you grow up and you mature a little bit, you learn about like, please don't be a tornado. 1 second.
A tornado? Really?
Maybe. I don't know. My weather alarm's going off.
While you're checking that, I'll just say someone asked me what my job is. I'm a sex and relationship coach. And
I'm gonna go check on that while you talk.
Okay. It's extremely common for people to be able to self-pleasure way quicker than they would be able to have partnered sexual interactions. So for instance, specifically for women can typically reach orgasm in something like 3 minutes and on their own. And for women who are in partnered sexual interactions with straight men, it typically takes between 8 and 20 minutes. And that's just because you're dealing with a person who has to like learn what works best for you. So yeah, so that is not unfamiliar. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you. Yeah, not on antidepressants. Yeah, it's different if you're on like medication or whatever. I am worried that Jimmy like got up to see what's going on. The sexiest organ is the brain. All sex happens, or sorry, not sex. All orgasms happen in your brain. So when we talk about like the biggest sex organ that we have, it would be either your brain, or I guess you could kind of make an argument for your skin, because that's your biggest organ in general. And obviously like there's a lot of nerve endings and whatever. So you get like, I don't know if we're taking calls today. I'm not sure. Tara, my best friend Tara's in the chat. That's really nice. Hi, Miss Girl. What are you guys doing for the week? Even New Year's. I'm going to be with my friend Tara. We're going to be in Colorado, and I haven't gone skiing or snowboarding in a really. Oh, I can't explain post-nut clarity. I would love nothing more than to explain post-nut clarity. So, our brain, when we are in an arousal state, I could like speak directly to the camera because I love this, and I'm going to just stay focused and not get distracted by the chat. Okay. So when we are in an arousal state, our brain, when they map our brain, it looks similar to the way that it looks when we do, when we're dreaming or we're daydreaming or we are like in an altered state of mind. And so there's a different I don't want to say neuroplasticity because I don't know if that's exactly the word, but our brain functions completely differently when we are feeling aroused and we're switched into an aroused state. So there are things that we will do when we're aroused that won't really be something that we would ever do or say when we're not. And that's why this like post-nut clarity thing happens. So an arousal state creates an altered state of mind. So when we are flipped out of the arousal state, that's when our brain function kind of like returns back to normal, like drops into everything else that we would normally think about. And a good way to think about that is when you are in a aroused situation or like a sexually charged situation. Hi, Timothy.
Hi.
We're talking about post-nut clarity. When you're in a sexually charged situation, the things that you'll say are so different than what you would ever say if you were just like at dinner with the same exact person. And that's all because your brain state is technically an altered state of mind, similar to dreaming, daydreaming, taking psychedelic drugs. You're in an altered state of mind when you are aroused.
Your frontal lobe, right? It becomes less active or more, whichever one makes you more impulsive, takes your inhibitions down.
Yeah. It's all part of that. It's like so interesting. You are literally in an altered state of mind. So it's like the two of the easiest ways to think about it is dirty talk, like if you are aroused versus not, and like the things you are able to say. Like there are times when I think about the things that I say when I'm aroused and I'm like in a sexual situation and I'm like, oh my God. Like I cannot, like there's no way.
I really hate when people just try to embarrass their exes by like showing texts of things they were saying when they were, and it's like, that's like, so if a person was being a predator, that's not, again, not what I'm talking about. But if a person's like, oh my God, also look at how cringy they are. And they're just like passing texts around and you're like, all flirting looks weird.
Yeah.
If you aren't participating in it. Also,
100%.
On Reddit this week, seeing people call flirting like a person attempting to just flirt in like Tinder, in like Tinder interactions, calling that love bombing. That shit drove me crazy too. So not love bombing is a part of an abuse cycle. Flirting and love bombing are not synonymous, you fucking idiots. Anyway.
But it's the same way that like everyone is an alleged narcissist now and whatever. It's like, or like trauma bonding. Everyone is trauma bonded. And I just...
Yes, that one's sad because it's stopping people from having good friendships because they're like, oh, a friendship built on a trauma bond, quote unquote, is bad. And you're like, no, because trauma bonding isn't sharing trauma and bonding. That's not what trauma bonding actually is. Trauma bonding is... I like bringing up this point every time I can because people get it so incorrect. Trauma bonding is when you are in an abusive cycle with a person and there are 4 parts to the abuse cycle. And it's, what is it? Tension builds, the event, reconciliation / trauma bonding, and then the quiet period, and then it cycles back. And so during the reconciliation period, that's often when you get love bombed, and the person will go out of their way to be overly affectionate and tell you all the sweet things you want to hear, and you'll hear about you'll just feel so loved and everything, and this person's so apologetic. Trauma bonding refers to the fact that you actually bond and build an addiction to your abuser who is traumatizing you. Trauma bond is nothing to do with Alyssa and I shared our traumas together. Now we're bonded. That is not what trauma bonding is. And so it's sad when people are like, oh, I don't want to be friends with this person because we trauma bonded and trauma bonding is bad. And it's like, you're right, trauma bonding is bad, but what you think trauma bonding is not what trauma bonding is.
It's not.
Not to say that there aren't unhealthy oversharers.
I think I didn't realize how, and this is like a very privilegey moment for me, but I didn't realize how annoying it was when people would say things like trauma bonding or like we're trauma bonded or like, haha, I'm autistic, like whatever, jokes about like them being autistic. Basically, I didn't realize how annoying it was when people would self-diagnose with things that they did not have until I actually was diagnosed with ADHD and understood how it showed up for me in my life. And then I started to get very frustrated with people who talk about having ADHD, like having ADHD, and like that just being them being unable to whatever, like do their laundry all in one day or whatever. I'm like, oh no, I don't think you understand. This ruins my life sometimes. Like you, like I can't decide what to eat sometimes because the decision fatigue is so real that I can't let, like, I'm like, I part of me is like, I
Guess
get
I'll
it
just
in
die.
like a pop. Right, literally. Like I get it in like a pop culture sense. Like people just are trying to whatever, use whatever terms that they feel are funny, and like it's fine. But at the same time, I did not realize how fucking annoying it is until people started saying all the time about ADHD, and I was like, "Oh no, sometimes I literally don't eat for an entire day because I can't decide what to eat." So you tell me how that manifests for you.
The fact of the matter is if a person thinks that they have ADHD, first of all, the concept of self-diagnosis is self-defeating. Diagnosis can't be, you can't self-diagnose. That would be monodosing or whatever. Diagnosis actually requires an external thing. But if you believe you have it and you have good reason to believe you have it, great. Go consume the resources so you aren't saying stupid things. Because even if you're right that you have it, if you then go, this is my identity, therefore everything about me is a symptom of this thing I have, you may be spreading horrible information, like all of the horrible information on TikTok, for example, which is full of people self-diagnosing with ADHD, self-diagnosing about autism. And you may be saying like, oh, yeah, this thing, well, it's because I have ADHD. And in fact, it might not be a component of the ADHD. I feel very much for everybody who doesn't have the resources to go and get diagnosed. But what is very interesting to me is how many people then want to go live in this self-diagnosis world of, well, I have this. And then I go, great, which free workbook or which free resources are you going? Well, talking to other people on Reddit and TikTok is the extent of it. I've got a community of other people who are doing. And it's like, so what you're saying is you need to be taken seriously as this person, but you don't want, like, if you were to have the resources to go and get a diagnosis, then would be given to you more resources for like, hey, here's how to handle those challenges. Here's how to do different things. And like, here's where you can go to like read. Here are workbooks. Here are things. And by the way, all of these resources are available for free online. And it's very interesting how many of the self-diagnosis people will almost get offended when you're like, great, what work are you doing on yourself now that you have decided to have that?
That's what's crazy. And like, I don't even know what we were going to talk about on the show today, so I'm sorry that this is like the direction that we've gone.
Yeah, but I feel for people like, with OCD because we way over abuse the term. Like, that's just my OCD.
Yeah. Oh my God. One of my best friends has OCD, and it is, I love her to death. And as a person who is extremely close to her, who does work with her, it is so fucking challenging. It is so challenging. Like, even from my distance, it is so challenging. But it's like, but it's the problem that I have in general with this whole narrative with being self-aware being all you need to do. Like, well, at least I'm self-aware. No.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
That's not how that works. I'm a piece of shit, but at least I'm aware of it.
Literally, it's like, okay, so that means, the way that I feel like that shows up for me in my life the most is when people are like, well, I'm chronically late, but at least I'm self-aware. Okay, cool. So what you're telling me is that you are aware that you will be 5 to 10 minutes late to everything that you do, and you still won't change it? That's way worse.
And you should be aware that that has impact on other people who have to make up for it. And those people have their own shit and perhaps their own conditions. Yeah, I don't know. I get very, very frustrated with the whole, I believe in having all of the resources available for everybody. But even somebody in the chat a little bit said like, well, I'm self-diagnosed and you better tread carefully. I'm like, fuck you. Was that a threat? I might believe that you have it too. I don't care though. It's not for me to decide, and I'm not a professional. Neither are you. I believe you, if you have ADHD or not, you should have resources to what people use to improve their life with ADHD for free. You should be going and seeking those out, and you should be working on those things to be able to have a more comfortable life and things. And I believe in giving you all of those benefits without the diagnosis. So whether or not you have it or not, it's not important to me. I think you should have access to everything. And I don't like, if you're going to say you have ADHD, I'm just going to accept, I don't ask people for certification or proof. But if you're going to sit around and go, I'm self-diagnosed, you better tread carefully as you talk about this. It's like, you sound like you might be a part of the problem. I'm self-diagnosed. I've decided the validity. And if you're going to talk about the nuances of this, when you're actually saying we want to make sure people who have these conditions are getting fully everything they need, you better tread carefully. I ain't treading on shit. I'll tread wherever I want.
At the end of the day, like there are so many examples where we, like, just because the problem exists doesn't mean that you don't live in a world where the world is going to be created for people who are neurotypical. The world is going to be created for people who are a very specific, prototype of a person. And so unfortunately, that means, like people who have ADHD and are not, like medically treated or whatever. Yeah. Like you're going to need to work a little harder to figure things out, to catch up with a world that is created for neurotypical people. But at a certain point, it's like, are you going to fight for your life? Because no one else is going to do that for you. So are you going to fight to be a person that is like in community and partnership with everyone else, that is able to do the work that you want to do and that you love? It's like, at the end of the day, it's not great. It's annoying. For sure, it's annoying. I understand fully how fucking annoying it is to feel like you are constantly like one step behind everyone else. And that's just for ADHD. Like there are so many other like things on the spectrum of being neurodivergent that can be more challenging than like, especially the type of ADHD that I feel like I deal with day to day. But at the end of the day, like you got to show up.
Yeah.
Only you. The only person who's going to save yourself is you. I literally don't know how we got here. I don't
either. It's funny too, because this is like, you have the same conversations with people fighting with addiction, fighting with whatever, the stuff where it's literally like, no one can, yes, there absolutely should be programs and accommodations and things out there. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, like you talking about your thing, no one else is going to be in charge of making sure that you eat. You're the only person who has to come up with okay, when I'm in that situation, what is my routine? I'll open my app on my phone and go, just eat this, you dumb bee. Like whatever the app says. You have little notes to yourself like that. It's what it says in mine. When I'm ending my decision thing, it goes, just go for a walk, you dumb bitch. I actually do have mean notes to myself. That was directed at me, not her. I'll use dumb bitch to refer to myself. But I do have like mean notes to myself, like even with like anxiety attacks and stuff. Oh yeah. No. They're not like mean. It's kind of more like to bring me back down, to anchor me back down, where it's like, just certain things where it's like, if these are your symptoms, calm the fuck down. You're not dying. You probably just need to poop, like stuff like that. And it'll stop after.
Okay. I had this conversation with a coaching client of mine, and we were talking about like, so this is something that I talk about with my coaching clients a lot, like affirmations. And it sounds very, I don't know what to buy for a person that I don't know that well. And so I went to like the discount section of Barnes & Noble, and there's a book of affirmations. I get that. Like, I understand that that's how it sounds, but there are like decades of research behind affirmations just being good for your mental health. And so we were creating affirmations that were, I wanted her to like, so I've had people put them as their phone backgrounds or put them around the mirror in their bathroom so they see it when they wake up and whatever. And so the way that we created these affirmations was to, because she has a hard time, she compares herself to other people on like social media or whatever. So I asked her what she's like on her best day. Like, what is your best day being yourself? How would you describe yourself? And so those are the adjectives that we used for her affirmations, because you're not comparing yourself to other people. You're comparing yourself to what you are capable of on your very best day. And so you know that the affirmations you're creating for yourself are based on things you've actually achieved, ways of being that you actually have been. And so, yeah. Oh, wow. Someone said, you two are so privileged. Your ideas bleed with money. I don't know how the hell we got to money, but okay.
Hilarious. Hey, call in, Cam. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, because guess what? I spent most of my life completely poor and still super fucking autistic. So let's go ahead and have that
crazy
conversation.
Thing to say.
Also, literally, I wouldn't describe myself as rich either. I'm currently financially secure. I'm not worried about the next. I should be able to keep where I live for the next year at least. I'm feeling like that's true. But hilarious. Go ahead. Call in. I'd love to hear your argument for it. Because literally we've not offered to reject you of anything. And this is kind of my point about these conversations when you want to have these conversations. And talk about the nuances of it when you're literally just like, hey, there is a lot of ridiculousness around this conversation. And certainly I would say the people who are like, nobody's autistic, everybody's faking their disorder, blah, 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 blah. Those people are fucking crazy and ridiculous and they are going too far with it. But also the people that are like, I had a hard time getting out of bed and whatever I think that needs as far as a diagnosis goes. And the people who are, it's just fucking, of course you're going to find these extremes. And unfortunately the extremes are the loudest and they need to be combated against. And so just as much as I will shit on the people who are like, literally look at this channel, look at what we're always advocating for, fucking neurodivergent people and trans people. And then the time we're literally like, you know what's not fun? All of these people fucking caricaturizing conditions from this community of people that's very popular on, you know how fucking tired I am of people assuming that when I say I'm autistic, I mean that I need to revert into the state of a 6-year-old and stim with a blankie from time to time, because that is being spread out, that a symptom of autism is essentially needing to act like an actual fucking baby all over the internet. You know how fucking fun that is? But don't bring up that because they're a part of a larger community with a better point. Fuck off with you and your call in or fuck off.
Call in or fuck off.
Speaking of people who actually did call in, I want to talk to Ulrich, who says that the war on Christmas is real. Do you want to do that one?
Oh, I would love that.
I remember Ulrich called on Sunday. I just don't remember how that call went.
Yeah, I would love that.
Let me see if I've got the name tag ready. No, I don't. Let me fix that. But I thought I did though. Maybe they changed maybe their input got changed. Yeah, their input got changed. They were number 3. Let me just switch that there so I can keep track. All right, Ulrich in Mexico. You are on the line with Alyssa and Jimmy. Hello, Ulrich.
Okay, hello.
Hi there.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, well, we met already on Sunday, remember?
Yes, I did, but I had a lot of problems with the connection. Yeah, I hope this time it worked. I'm on another device, so it should.
Great. And by the way, would you go ahead and, Ulrich, since you're the first caller, let everybody know that the Mug Brawl is officially open. There's a link in the description that we're having a contest, and people should go and buy mugs right now. I'm going to get the graphic ready for in a minute, but you should tell everybody, go buy your mugs from the line.
Yeah, girl.
I should tell that?
Yeah. What, you want to call in?
I don't know.
You want to call in and get the benefit of our audience, and you want obviously people to hear this channel and this channel to exist because you want to call in and talk to us, but you don't want to actually just say, "Hey, everybody, go get some mugs." Calm down, Ulrich. Come on.
I'm calm, but why should I make commercials for you?
Ulrich, because you're Ulrich. You're right. Let me get you on the payroll, Ulrich, because everyone knows who you're. All right. Anyway, I got out of this what I needed, which was just to mention to everybody that they should go buy one. And Ulrich doesn't want you to buy one. He wants to take advantage of the fact that we're
I don't care if you buy one. You can buy one if you want. If you don't want, you don't.
Hey, Ulrich, do you want the conversation with you and I and Alyssa to happen?
Yes.
So you want this channel to succeed well enough that we have the resources to make sure that these types of conversations are continuing to happen, right?
But look, it's not helping if I tell them to buy the mug and then they hate me for what I'm saying, then they won't buy the mug.
No, yeah, well,
so
then,
it might be
then even better for you. Here are some of the mug options there, people. Y'all want to definitely go and buy these mugs. There's a thing in the description, and we've been tagging our mugs. Let me make sure yours is on there. Yes,
okay,
that's in the top middle.
My mug is so great.
It's that top one, I heart promiscuous women, and then the Forrest Jimmy hybrid is actually mine, and the mug says worst host on the line. Literally worst host on the line, because that was a comment we got this last week. Anyway, Ulrich, go ahead. What were you calling in to say? You were saying that the war on Christmas is real.
Yes.
Great. Defend that.
Yeah, since it started, like there is Santa Claus that is kind of to take your attention away from Jesus Christ to somebody else. So it has a long history of like the war on real Christmas.
Great.
There's kind of a counterfeit
real
Christmas.
So first of all, anything that isn't a part of real Christmas, the real birth of Christ, you would say you should reject, and it should be from Satan, right?
No, I didn't make such an extreme statement.
Okay.
So you say everything and Satan and stuff, that's
okay. Let's do this then. Anything that we could associate with secular or paganistic things, or anything that's not of the actual Christmas holiday, that isn't about Christianity, the birth of Christ, should we reject that? Would all of that stuff be the war on Christmas?
No, because some things like I don't care, like Christmas trees, let's say.
Okay.
They're probably pagan, but yeah, they're not really against anything.
They're not?
Like, maybe they're against forests. I don't know, but then what would they be against?
Well, what about the part of the Bible that literally says not to bring those trees into your house?
And make them an idol, yeah. That's
right, a Christmas tree, which you cover with a star. Which you put a star on the top. What other way would you make it an idol than to go, here is the symbol of our religious holiday here that we're celebrating, that we're gathering around, that we're giving gifts and dedication to. I don't know how to make an idol otherwise.
Well, we're giving gifts to the Christmas tree.
We're giving gifts in front of the Christmas tree as a dedication to it. But by the way, yes, we also, by the way, we do also give gifts to the Christmas tree. That is what is represented by decorating the tree. The decoration of the tree and the lighting of the tree is actually symbolic of the original pagan rituals. So I don't think you actually, I think, Ulrich, what's happening is you have this arbitrary line and you're going like, this thing that I don't like about Christmas that distracts, and yet you're calling it a war on Christmas when in fact Christmas has been a war on other religions, meaning to overwrite. Oh, what? You're right.
Christmas is on war.
Christmas has been a war on other, don't get me wrong. They're all wrong, so I don't give a fuck. Y'all, as long as you're not literally killing each other, have your symbolic Christmas wars or whatever. But it's not atheists versus Christianity that's doing it. Hey, Ulrich, when was Jesus born? Just roughly, what part of the year was he born in?
We don't know what part of the year, but roughly 2,030 years ago.
We sure do know what part of the year. We know roughly.
We do.
When, yes, we know roughly when, based on the information given, he would have been born somewhere between, I think it's estimated somewhere between April and July. You know what we certainly know? That if he was born at all, he wasn't born in December. Remind me, Ulrich, why Christmas is on December 25th. Can't hear you, Ulrich. Ulrich, touch your phone.
365.
Touch your phone. What'd you say?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Why did they pick December 25th?
Because it was a pagan holiday.
Right. And why would they do that? Why did they need to put it on a pagan holiday?
Because it's winter and dark and cold and people want to celebrate during this day.
No.
Why?
No.
Oh my God.
No?
Because during the Crusades,
you just said, oh my
Catholic
God. Okay.
Church. No, Ulrich, hold on a second. Because during the Crusades, the Catholic Church so badly wanted to convert everyone.
The Crusades, nothing to do with that. Come on.
Hey, I know she's a woman and that you've been raised in a religion that doesn't respect when they're speaking.
I didn't ask.
But Ulrich,
I don't know.
Ulrich, the fact is that when
you
I was
pretty
talking,
female too.
Hey, Ulrich, now you're trying to interrupt me. But you haven't up until now. You started being much more interruptive when the woman started talking. Maybe you could shut the fuck up and listen.
Ridiculous.
Hey, Ulrich, shut the fuck up and
ridiculous.
let her finish her point.
No, I don't want you to finish because you're more female than...
Oh, and look, I muted you, you dumb bitch. I'm more female, and yet you're here being a dumb bitch. That was me. That was mean to dumb bitches. Ulrich, you're a fucking piece of shit. Well, I'll unmute you in a moment. Go ahead, Alyssa.
Here's the thing that's annoying about this, Ulrich, is if you genuinely believe that there is a war on Christmas, that you feel so attacked by Christmas, I would like you to explain how there is a tree lighting that happens in New York City that is nationally cast. I would like you to explain how the President of the United States sends out Christmas cards. Like, how is that? I'm confused about how that exists at the same time as there being a war on Christmas. How people of all religions in the United States know all of these Christmas songs. Why is that? There are radio stations dedicated to Christmas music this time of year. So that alone, shocking to me. Shocking to me that you even think that. I think that that is just so misguided. But on top of that, during the Crusades, the Catholic Church sent out representatives to make sure that people who are practicing paganism were going to convert to Catholicism. And the way that they were going to do that was to say, hey, you can actually keep some of your traditions, but you have to do it in the name of Jesus, in the name of God. That is a true fact. That's not something made up. That is in history books. That is real. And you can still believe whatever you want to believe, like whatever. Faith is faith. And like, if that's what you want to have, it's not my fucking business. But at the end of the day, what I'm talking about, what I'm referring to is real. That is fact. Whether you want to accept it or not, that is a historical event.
They literally used the origin to supersede it, and then have since then used it to erase those holidays and make people, you don't learn in society unless you go looking for it, what the actual origins of Christmas are,
right.
Virtually at all. Nowadays, more because we have so much information. So anyway, Ulrich, any of those things you want to respond to, or perhaps the question I would have to you is, why do you think the phrase, you sound like a woman, would be an insult? You've been unmuted, Ulrich. Where you at, buddy? Did you run away? Oh.
No.
All right.
No, I did not
Ulrich.
run away.
Come on back.
Hello?
Go ahead. You've got lots of things you can respond to there, buddy.
Okay. I did not interrupt her because that's a ridiculous claim that you make every time I call.
Yeah, well,
it's
maybe you should stop
I was making fun of that. Okay.
Maybe you should stop interrupting every time the woman starts speaking.
It's also not a claim. That is a fact. That's historical event. The Crusades are a historical event. That's not a claim. That's literally what happened.
No, the claim was
I don't.
The claim was that I would not let the woman speak. That was the ridiculous claim.
It just has all the evidence.
100 years ago, what?
It just has all the evidence.
Evidence of what?
You literally did it. Ulrich, I don't say it if you don't interrupt the women. If you hadn't interrupted her immediately after yours and my background,
I don't even know she's a woman.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm sure.
How do I know she's a woman? I didn't ask her pronouns. Your own ridiculous ideology is contradicting itself.
Except Ulrich, that doesn't really work because my own ridiculous ideology also includes gender presentation, and both of us are presenting our genders pretty clearly today. Not to mention all of that bio.
No, I'm not.
Hey, shut the fuck up. I'm still talking. All of that bio information exists on our channel, and you're obsessed with the channel and have clearly watched a lot. So you definitely know that I identify as a man and that I'm an assigned male at birth man. And you definitely know that Alyssa is a woman, especially since she is from Chewed Gum, which you've tried to call before, which is staffed exclusively by women or assigned female at birth people. Your obsession with us, this channel, and trying to make these terrible arguments makes all of that fall apart. But go off.
Oh. Hello?
Okay, I would like to hear. I would like to hear your rebuttal on everything that we said. Like, I want to get back to like why you think there is a war on Christmas, because I don't understand that at all. Like, I live in New York. I went into New York City and I saw Fifth Avenue. I saw Rockefeller Center a couple of weeks ago. There is no war on Christmas. It's everywhere.
You live in a country that's even more Christian than this country and still have figured out some Christian persecution syndrome.
It's like confusing. It's really genuinely like, I would like to know. Ulrich, are you there, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
So I tried to separate the non-Christian part from Christmas. The non-Christian part, like Santa Claus, is very much celebrated.
Okay.
But there is a war on real Christmas, celebrating Jesus Christ.
Great.
That's my point.
Okay,
There's not a war. There's not a war on that, Ulrich. There's no war. No one is telling you that you can't celebrate real Jesus, real whatever. There are churches that have crucifixes outside of the church. You can do whatever the hell you want because that's the way that this country is. We have religious freedom, allegedly. There's no war on that. But also, Christmas has become a cultural holiday. It has become something that we celebrate culturally. And that has honestly been the fault of capitalism. It's been something that people can capitalize on. And so they did. And so now it's become a part of who we are, our cultural fabric. And you're telling us that we are not allowed to celebrate the cultural part. This is what's confusing to me, because I saw recently, I was
I'm not telling you what you're allowed and not allowed to.
Shut up. She's not done.
Okay. I was in a parking lot a couple of days ago, and I saw someone have a sticker on their car that said, it was like a caution thing, and it said, "You can say Merry Christmas to me." And I was like, you're such a fucking nerd. Like, you're such a fucking loser. Like, I'm sorry. Because at no point would you ever say in this country, Merry Christmas to someone, and then someone say, fuck you. Like, that's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. This is a country that celebrates, and I think globally, Christmas is celebrated enough where you can say Merry Christmas, and people, unless there's something else going on, people understand that you're not saying you believe in Jesus. They understand that this is a cultural thing for us now. So, like, I don't understand why it feels like a war to you. Like, you can go into Home Goods, you can go into Marshalls, you can go into Target, you can go into literally any store in the country, in the world this time of year, and there will be shit everywhere that says Merry Christmas, and there will be a really small little part of it that says Happy Holidays. So, like, what do you mean? And you can celebrate it religiously if you want to. No one's going to tell you not to do that. Like, the White House says Merry Christmas. So, like, what do you mean? I'm confused.
Yeah, or specific examples confused. Here. What is a specific way you cannot celebrate Christmas in America or Mexico, since you're calling from Mexico? What form does this war on Christmas take?
Okay, the war on Christmas is not something from the government. So it's not in Mexico and the United States. It's a cultural thing, right? And you're right on the top of it. You're even offended if I say Jesus loves you. You've said that many times.
I have not said that. I don't give a fuck if you say Jesus loves you. In fact, Ulrich, here, let's see. On a scale of 1 to 10, I am 0 offended. So literally below the scale, if you say Jesus loves me. I'm now going to say something to you, Ulrich, and I want you to tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 how offensive it is. Hey, Ulrich, Satan loves you and would love to see you have sex with Jesus Christ. How offended are you?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh,
like 3.
got it. So you're actually more offended by just words of a stranger than I am. I'm not offended if you say Jesus loves me. I just think it's like you saying Santa Claus loves me. I don't care. It's a dumb thing to say, and it's a way
can I make a similar question?
And it's a way for you to jump in and say, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. Go ahead, find what, Ulrich, you're going to try and prove that I'm ever offended by saying some outrageous, ridiculous thing about people's identities. And I never said Ulrich, I'm never offended. I'm talking about whether or not I find religious bullshit offensive and you saying Jesus loves you.
And also, Ulrich, I would also draw your attention to when you're using Jesus loves you, because that means way more than the phrase itself. If you're saying Jesus loves you after we've had this whole, let's say you and I have this really great debate, we go back and forth, and we've decided, you know what, maybe our argument falls apart where you have faith and I don't. That's often where I end these kinds of conversations. And then at the end of it, you say, Jesus loves you. The reason that would offend me is because I've already told you that that is not something that I believe. And so you saying that is a way to create conflict, to say, well, it doesn't matter what you say because what I'm saying is right and Jesus loves you. And that's still combative without you being it's like soft combat. You know what I mean? So it depends on also the context in which you say that, if that makes sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, throwing that phrase
would also
out
be like
at a random person. Sorry?
It would also be like a 3 on a scale from 1 to 10. You're offended like a 3.
I'm not offended at all, Ulrich.
No, I'm not
offended.
You
literally don't have the power to offend me.
The reason The reason why I think someone would
be
have
very
an
easy, but I don't want to go to that stuff.
Ulrich, the only way it would be, first of all, you couldn't offend me. You could say something offensive that would be a problem mostly for the channel, and I would then ban you forever because you're trying to harm the channel by using language in the hopes that maybe it will get our channel in trouble, which we would just cut it out. We wouldn't get in trouble. But then you would be banned from ever calling in again because you're using language that is against the or just otherwise being bigoted and shitty. None of this has anything to do with offending me. I don't know you, Ulrich. I don't care about you. I don't love you. I don't hope for your demise or your success in life. You are literally a voice on the internet to me. I'm not even positive you're a human. At this point, you could be an AI here just to be not offensive, but annoying. Who knows? And you could have been trained on all of the data of all the calls I've ever taken and tried to be. But at the end of the day, you have zero power to offend me. You have the power to potentially say offensive things, which would then make me think you're not a very good person. And I wouldn't have any desire to extend the conversation. But you literally have zero ability to offend me. You could talk about wanting to fuck my family. You could talk about what identities you think are and aren't legitimate. Again, as you stem into bigotry, we're not going to just let bigotry be platformed, but that doesn't have a single thing to do about what I am personally offended by. I'm not a weak person who gets offended by strangers.
Either.
Yes, you are. You already said you were.
I mean, it's offensive what you say, like Satan having sex with Jesus or something like that. I think most people in the world would be offended by that.
No, because most people in the world aren't Christian. Most people would think is
you have not accepted Jesus, you would still be Christian.
I used to. Once upon a time, I accepted Jesus. Then more recently, Jesus had accepted me right into his body.
That's a weird statement, and I don't want to imagine that, but
don't imagine me fucking Christ. You have been saved one.
What?
I was agreeing with you. Don't imagine me having sex with Jesus Christ. You said you didn't want to imagine it. So I'm saying don't imagine Jesus Christ having super gay sex.
Know how the brain works. No, I just imagined that. Thank you.
Oh, Ulrich, come on. I managed to get through the whole thing without thinking of it at once. I'm bone dry down there.
Okay. Yes. So the war on Christmas is real. Even your show proves it. You're making a call-in show to be against Christmas on Christmas.
Nope. We're not against Christmas. Alyssa, you're muted. We're literally not against Christmas.
Okay.
Are you unmuted now, Alyssa? Okay, she's figuring.
So now I'm unmuted. Okay.
No, Alyssa was muted, not you.
Okay. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, girl. I am not against Christmas. I literally am celebrating Christmas today and tomorrow with my family. I am not against anything. I just don't believe in Jesus or God. So
I've been literally singing Christian Christmas shit all week. I've been singing. I think it's a bop. Oh, holy night! Because it's a song. It's in my head.
Because
it's really weird.
Because it's cultural. It's cultural. And you want to know what's so crazy about it? The reason that this is a cultural thing that we do is because the Catholic Church so aggressively pushed Christianity on everyone so aggressively that it is woven into our culture. And now that it's woven into our culture, and there are some people who have access to what I would describe as critical thought, we've decided that, hey, like, I don't really enjoy the part of this that is religious, but I still want the part of this that is cultural because it is something that I grew up with, and I can enjoy having the Christmas tree in my room, partially because that's a pagan tradition. And I can also enjoy having a wonderful family dinner, and I can enjoy things like holly and whatever, like all of these things that are associated with Christmas that are cultural and that actually have nothing to do with Jesus Christ. Like, there is nothing about eggnog. Right. There's nothing about Bing Crosby, about Christmas trees. Like, that has nothing to do with Jesus. So why can't I enjoy those things? I don't go to church. I don't pray. So like, I'm not celebrating the parts of Christmas that are religious because I don't feel comfortable doing that. But I do celebrate the parts of Christmas that are cultural.
Why do you celebrate it all?
Because she already explained this 9 times.
I just explained that.
It's a cultural thing. People do it with their family. You're raised with it. I sing Christmas. Shut the fuck up. I'm not done. The Catholic Church hasn't done anybody any favors. There's a lot of children. Oh, I was going to say something too graphic. There's a lot of children who would like to talk about those favors that you're alleging that they're doing. Favors for themselves. Christmas, as you've already said, for most people, doesn't even resemble this whole we're going to sit down, and it has clearly become a cultural holiday. Just as okay, Ulrich, what day of the week is it right now?
Tuesday.
What day?
Tuesday.
How dare you? You are a Christian. How dare you use a Tuesday if you're not a pagan? Which one is Tuesday? I don't remember which god that is, but they're all literally named after pagan gods. How dare you participate in the cultural week, which has the god of the sun? Thor's Day is coming up. How dare you participate in what the culture is otherwise doing? By the way, to answer your question from earlier, the reason why I sing Oh Holy Night still is the same reason I still sing Kanye. It doesn't matter how I feel about the church or sometimes a thing is just stuck in your head and you just have to go, I'm gonna need to see your fucking hands at the concert. And you want to sing about mummies and blowjobs because that's like one of the funniest lines in a rap song ever.
It's really funny.
I love that song so much. Sometimes you just sing stuff, man. By the way, you would not like the renditions of at some point I start singing A Holy Night and I start changing the lyrics up.
Oh my God. But the point is that there is obviously a part of Christmas that is so woven into the culture of the westernized world that it is really, really, kind of unacceptable to think that there is a war on Christmas, because I understand that not everybody who celebrates Christmas is celebrating it in a religious context, but that you're taking that in great offense when in reality, the reason why this exists is because the westernized world took Christianity and Catholicism and forced it upon the people in the westernized world, so much so that it became the fabric of our culture, a portion of the fabric of our culture. So many of us identify with Christmas. It's a monopoly on our culture. So we don't want to let it go because it is a part of capitalism. It's a part of our family time. Like, there's no reason why we should let go that aspect of it because it was forced upon us to begin with. You can't go into a single store the month of, actually after Thanksgiving, and not hear Christmas music. So why shouldn't I be able, if you're going to force it on us all like that, why shouldn't I be able to have a nice dinner with my family? Why shouldn't I be able to put up lights around my room? Why shouldn't I be able to have a tree in my room?
By the way, Ulrich, if you really want the answer to
it on all of us.
Go just pretend to be an atheist amongst a heavily Christian area and see how they will treat you like shit if you don't also participate in their Christmas traditions and how they will try to shove it down. It is a culturally...
Really?
Yes. Really, really.
Christians treat you like shit?
Yes. Are you shitting me, Ulrich? Oh my God. You know what's funny is I gave up on Christmas.
Can you give me an example of that?
Yes, sure. The last
KKK,
time,
how about that? They do that in the name of God. The KKK exists in the name of God.
Can we talk about normal Christians?
Sure. We're talking about the thing that you're just saying. My family, the last time I went to Thanksgiving, they basically were like, listen, no talk of religion here. We're nobody's going to talk about religion of any kind. You guys don't talk about your stuff. We won't talk about our stuff. I get there. They're blasting religious music that they used to never do on Thanksgiving, sort of it as an in-your-face thing. Then everybody there on their Christian side kept trying to bring up arguments and pick fights with me. As soon as I would start to respond, my Christian parents would then jump in and be like, oh, you just can't help yourself. You were told that this is absolute, even though every single argument was started by them. Then when we went to the building where we actually had our big family Thanksgiving dinner, by the way, you're laughing like this is menial. This is literally my family treating me like fucking shit. And you're laughing at it because you actually support it clearly. You're actually the piece of shit who's like, yeah, you shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up. You're laughing at me giving examples of being ostracized by my family, which was literally my last holiday with them, which was fucking heartbreaking. And I was going through these with you as you're just going to sit there and laugh as though they're menial. It's literally your family turning their back on you and basically saying, we don't value your words, your personality, your anything. So if you're going to ask questions like this and then just laugh off the answer for what literally breaks the hearts of so many people, Ulrich, you can literally go fuck off to the moon, which I'm sure is also named after a god, and yet you'll call it that.
Yeah, it also, Ulrich, that you asked for an example, and I gave you one that is widespread, the KKK. Yeah, I gave you an example that is widespread, the KKK. That is something that's not centralized to one family. My point is, it's not centralized to one family. It's not an anecdotal piece of evidence. That is something that is real, that exists. We know that they do that in the name of God. We know that Jimmy gave you anecdotal evidence, which is from his own household. So he's trying to appeal to you as a human being and saying, I experienced this on a personal level. I tried to appeal to you in a broad sense by saying, this is fact. This is a group of people who act, which one of many that act in hate and do that in the name of God. So what example would satisfy you that there are many people who act hatefully in the name of God every single day? If it's not anecdotal and it's not widespread based on historical evidence, what example would do that for you?
The example that is not some weird racist group or just a family having fun together.
So,
something real.
Just a family having fun together. As a family's literally ostracizing and turn their back on. I literally gave you something fucking real. Okay, Ulrich, I'll give you something real from a different religion. Yeah. Ulrich, shut the fuck up. No, it's not about how I perceived it. This is literally, it was my last holiday with them because they were fucking awful. And I didn't even get through the examples as you just sat there and laughed. How is your evaluation when you don't know me, you don't know my family, you don't know the history, you don't know what their tones are like. I told you one part of a story and you don't know fucking shit about the rest of it. And yet you're sitting there questioning the authenticity of my interpretation of how my family treated me, people I had a lifetime of experience. And you're saying my perception of why they were treating me that way. And I have a huge family. It's a large group of people treating me this way. Is less correct than yours based on what fucking expertise do you have about my family, you dipshit?
Also, Ulrich, I have a question. Ulrich,
okay, you didn't listen at all to what I just said. Go ahead and do your last one, and then we're dropping this guy like a fucking idiot. Then you're an idiot because your answer back was the same answer before, which I just explained to you why it didn't make any fucking sense because you don't actually know anything about my family, and you're saying your evaluation of what my family's motives were is different than mine, and yours is more valid. Oh, he hung up before you could do your thing. Fuck this guy. He
did? Okay.
Yeah, he's a fucking dumb bitch.
What I was gonna say to him, and I hope he's still listening, is I would ask him if compassion and empathy are things that he would say are the traits of someone who is Christian. If so, how is it that someone is here describing a painful experience, something that is hurtful within their own family group, and you decided to laugh? If you are saying that you are an example of Christianity, then why are you different than the KKK, which you think is such a niche group? So niche. Although we had them walking on our soil a couple of years ago in an entire rally. But you're telling me that this person is exposing personal pain to you and you're laughing. So I don't trust for a fucking second that you are any example of empathy or compassion the way that you think that you are. You are, if you consider those things to be traits of being a Christian person, you're a bad Christian. You are bad at your faith because you do not walk the walk the way that you think that you do. And that's just like that. And that is the example that we see over and over and over again. And it is so fucking frustrating because the way that I continue, and not to like gas myself up, but like people who watch Chewed Gum have seen me talk to someone who admitted to being a pedophile on the air. And I had that conversation with compassion and with empathy and guided him to a place where he could find help and support, because that was important, because that's a human being. And I identify myself as an atheist. So you tell me, Ulrich, how you think that your faith helps you be a better person. Because I'm here and I'm an atheist, and I was able to have a conversation like that. And you couldn't have a conversation with someone saying to you, I have a family that literally rejected who I am and made fun of me and ostracized me, and you decided to laugh.
What's funny
Tell me about that.
If you just reversed it, he would immediately be like, yeah, that's clearly an example of Christian persecution. If he were to go to an atheist holiday event and everybody else there was atheist except them, and the rule is put down, no religion talk, okay? We won't bring our stuff up, you don't bring your stuff up, and we'll just hang out as a group. If he was to go to that, and then every single one of them started poking at him and was like, yeah, but there's no blah, blah, blah. Like, or that theism's stupid because of such and such. Well, that the just constantly bringing it up. And then every time he started to rebut, somebody come in and said, stop. Why are you causing this? Why are you creating? Yeah. You just can't help yourself. He would 1000% be like, that's Christian persecution. And I'm not sitting here whining about being persecuted, even if that is what it qualifies for. I recognize that my family's a toxic, shitty family, and I got out of that situation because I don't see my problems with society as something they must immediately change to accommodate. I am working towards society changing broadly without sitting there knowing if I have a problem with this group of people, then it's up to me to stop hanging out with that group of people. It's up to me to remove the toxins in my life and not just demand everybody around me start adopting my traditions, start adopting my beliefs. And yet these people who will complain about our woke ideologies and trying to force it on everybody else, I'm literally not trying to force shit on anybody else. I'm trying to get people to make better decisions based on better information and help people choose. I'm not trying to pass a fucking law that says you have to do shit with pronouns, that you have to do shit revolving my religious beliefs or lack thereof. I'm not trying to pass any of those laws. Maybe protect those people for sure, because your side is trying to pass those laws. So protect those people from unfair religious laws. But I'm not trying to pass laws compelling anybody to do fucking shit. That's your side. Literally, our side is the side of freedom of speech. Our side is the side of freedom of identity, as long as you aren't fucking with other people's. And he's sitting there going like, no, I intend to pass laws. I intend to pretend that I am persecuted, because as a person who persecutes, I want to foist that on other people. Anyway, if you all feel, since a lot of people were saying, I'm not sitting here needing a bunch of compassion. This was years ago. I'm well over it, but let's pretend I'm really sad. And the only thing that will make me feel better is if you go and buy a mug. These are the mugs. If you go to the link in the description, you can get them now. We are doing a contest. So basically, whichever mug sells the most will make into a larger line of merch that will sell for the next year. Last year, it was Forest mug. But just to go over some of the ones that are up here, I don't know if these are all of the ones, but up at the top, Dissect the Boy, was a design that was done by, the bear was done by Arden. But this is Forest's. And then I did the scalpels. And then I had to do some... Forrest always has a million revisions he needs to do. So I did the revisions after the initial thing. And then the Forrest, the one that's next to it, the literally worst house online, it kind of looks like it's a Forrest one. It's actually mine. And there's two pictures on it. On the front is that picture, and on the back is the picture where my head's on the bottom, his is on the top. So it like swaps them. So 2-for-1 deal there. And it features the words literally worst host on the line. There's Alyssa's next to mine. I love promiscuous women.
I love my mug so much. It's so good.
I love it too. I don't know what Josie's means. Somebody will have to explain to me. Clearly it's a meme, but it looks like it's saying like coconuts plus palm tree equals woman. Maybe, I don't know. I don't actually know how it works. Someone will have to explain that to me. I'm sure it's an inside joke or it's something huge that's going viral on the internet. But because I've been living in my wood shop recently, I have no idea what is going on. Leave trans people the fuck alone is the one from Arden, I believe. All coffee and no table will be Paulogia's. And then see Paul, they are useful is Shannon's. And then promises, aka Eva's frame, is the disobey in the bottom right there. So those are the mugs. Good. Go get the mugs and support our next year of stuff, shenanigans, and the new projects that we are launching in the new year. Anyway, Ulrich, you're a shitty interlocutor and you're bad at arguing and you should be ashamed of yourself. Not remotely offended. I just am embarrassed on your behalf. But let's see if we can have a better faith conversation with somebody who also thinks that there is a war on Christmas. And I'm excited to hear it. Let me get your name tag here ready. I know. We aren't necessarily only taking war on Christmas calls, but
it's just so fascinating to me.
Yeah. All right, Jonathan in Kansas, you are on the line with Jimmy and Alyssa. Jonathan, you believe there is a war on Christmas, right? What? What did he say?
I don't know.
Because he said something and then hung up. So I imagine it was slurs, but I think he broke out. So I heard eshebabu.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Did anyone hear what he actually said? That was a nice try there, you dumb bitch, but you got nowhere with it.
You're so spicy today.
I like calling men dumb bitches. It emasculates them, and men cannot handle emasculation. It's just so easy, though.
That's true.
What did you even say?
Yeah.
Did you say, I put the pussy in a sarcophagus? Now she's saying that I bruised her esophagus. That was the line I was referring to, the pharaohs and the, have you ever had sex with a pharaoh? I just love that.
I put the pussy in a sarcophagus. Yeah, we need to do karaoke. And that when we do karaoke, we need to do that song. I already know. I'm going to do the Nicki part,
I don't think we can, though.
Why?
I'm going to need this man. Everybody know I'm a motherfucking monster. Gossip. Blank.
Yep. You just don't say that word. And also, I mean in real life karaoke, not like online. Yeah. Like in real life when we actually get to hang out. Because I'm going to come to Austin in March. I'm still not going to say the word.
Jeez, Alyssa.
No, of course not. Kidding. Of course not. Oh my God. Okay. No. And I'm going to do the Nicki Minaj part because I will do it flawlessly. And she is from Queens. And
I love it.
You know?
I had the biggest crush on her for years.
Who didn't? Who didn't? With a body like that and flow like that, how could you not?
Pow. Not very good taste in men, though. Anyway, from what I understand, I don't know that much. I don't keep track of celebrity lives, but if what I'm thinking I'm remembering, not good taste in men. Anyway. Fallon in Arizona, you are on the line and you want to create a case for a non-dualistic karmic system. I don't know, Fallon. That might be more of like a Sunday show kind of thing. It sounds like you want to get awful. Go ahead. What's your thing?
The page door.
What? You guys who are waiting to say some weird shit need to make sure that your system's going to work, because once again, it broke out. I have no idea what slur you just tried to say. You guys are really bad at this. That was like, you didn't say anything. I don't know what it was. Was I supposed to be offended today? I'm just like the fucking like, you guys suck at this hate speech thing or whatever it is you're trying to do. You just suck at it. Anyway, let's see.
Oh boy.
I'm just curious. I'll wait till the thing happens. 1 second. Giddy in Utah, you're on the line with Jimmy and Alyssa. What's up, Giddy?
Eshabella. Hi.
What were the first words you just said?
Oh, I was just no, forget that. It was a joke that didn't work.
Oh,
Hi.
You were trying to quote the like other weird shit people. I got you. I was like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. All right, okay, Giddy, thanks. What's up?
I guess. Okay, yeah. So I had used science to deconstruct my faith, but I'm coming across more people saying that science actually supports their religious views. Do you think that this issue will worsen with religious government figures leading the upcoming U.S. presidential term, or is the public in general educated enough? because I'm super optimistic about the progress of science, but I don't know if I'm being naive. I can list examples, but that's the question.
I think that actually it won't get worse. I think it's already pretty bad. It's probably plateauing. And then I think that's mostly a product of like tribalism and just this attempt to be like in the in-group of the rebellious weirdos. But I actually think that the Trump presidency will be such a monumental failure. And the idea of like it still being cool to be into Trump is going to go down pretty hard in the next 4 years. I think the pendulum is about to swing back because we didn't really have a pendulous swing when Biden won. That wasn't an ideological swing. That was like a everything's fucking horrible and we just want the COVID stuff to not be so bad, and also we're worried about things like the Supreme Court and shit. But it wasn't like a big. I think the big ideology swing back, kind of as you could see Trump as the ideological pendulous swing from Obama. I think that the next swing back is coming, and it's going to be centered around healthcare. I actually have a lot of hope for the next election. I just think the next 4 years are going to be fucking hell in the meantime. But I think that the next Democrat to win will be the one that runs on true universal healthcare, and that actually that is going to change a lot of people to take one step closer to leftism. But I think that we have seen what the last shit did. I think we've seen recently how both sides feel about healthcare due to certain recent events and the way our country is failing in delivering healthcare. And I actually think that we're probably in for better days ahead after we get through the hellish next 4 years.
I also think that that when it comes to what science is capable of proving and not proving, unless we all at this channel are so horrifically wrong, which I feel very doubtful about. I think that we found ways to like split an atom. And so if there is a God that refuses to show himself out of an ego that is so big, that I think even if for in some way that was scientifically provable, there are going to be the same amount of people who are so angry that it took whatever it did to get this being to prove itself, that it would negate any like scientific proof that this thing exists. And I also just I don't know. It's that's a hard thing to think about as a person who does not think that science could ever prove that there is a God, because I don't think there is one. So like, I don't know. I think with the administration, unless they are able to, there has always been, regardless of the administration, there has always been some like weird group of people who think that they have found scientific proof that God exists. Like literally an hour ago, my grandmother showed me an article in a magazine that I've never heard of. There is a cardiologist who wrote a book on how the experiences of people who have died, like medically died and then came back while on the table, have had like experiences of the afterlife, and how that's proof that there is an afterlife. Literally, this happened an hour ago. And this is a person who has a like full medical degree, and he wrote an entire book around that. And I feel like if that exists and we have enough critical thought for most of us to think, okay, that's not really proof. That's not really how that works. I can't imagine there being like any scientific proof that would make that big of a difference, like cause that big of a wave. Because there are these like really extreme claims that if you already have faith, then you'll be like, well, that's proof. But for the people who don't, they can understand that, hey, there's like way more stuff going on here, like a flood of DMT to your brain that are creating experiences that are not real. You know, I don't know. I think that there are already so many claims of science proving that God exists that like I can't imagine the new administration making that much of a difference.
Especially when so many of them are actually religious apathetic I'm more worried about Christian influence policy than a Christian influence,
right?
Or than an influence of the president to make the world more Christian. That's not what he's going to focus on. I'm going to be doing something that not a lot of people have done. We're going out and we're going to be telling people that drugs are bad. You know, people haven't really tried to tell people, but drugs are bad. Have you heard about this, that he's going to do a drugs are bad campaign? Like no one's ever really thought of it before. We never had a thing called DARE in this country with terrible T-shirts.
It's just exhausting. It's just exhausting.
Anyway,
it's just exhausting.
Anything else there, bud?
I'm just processing. This seems counter to my model of the world, because Jimmy, you're formerly Mormon, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. So I've heard that Mormon numbers are going down. And others are following suit. Women's health is in a good place educationally, is what I heard. I'm just having a hard time processing that maybe it's not.
I'm not sure what you're saying. I think we're saying things are rough right now. There was a surge of, I'm more worried about religious nationalism. Those who are religious have become more extreme than I am worried about the numbers of people who are religious, because there is a large enough group. So those who are remaining behind are more religious. People trying to belong to groups, people who are still, I mean, look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk hasn't become a Christian as far as I know, and yet he is literally the now general of the Christian nationalist movement. So regardless of whether or not he has become a Christian, he is pushing Christian nationalism. And so things are bad. I don't know what you mean by, there's a lot of bad stuff in this country. Women's healthcare is definitely not good right now, with the threats to their body and their autonomy. Education, American education, is kind of a joke compared to the rest of the world. But I think the pendulum is due for a swing back, and hopefully we can make some fundamental change this next time. And once we deliver actual universal health care, there's no putting, just in the same way that they haven't even been really able to get rid of Obamacare, and they now really can't totally. If they try, they will cause an absolute it would destroy the economy now to get rid of it completely. And I don't think they hate it so much to do that. And in fact, I think Donald Trump really doesn't want to be responsible for destroying the economy. So I don't really think Obamacare is going anywhere. But once we just get universal health care, then we're good. We're not good, but then the box is open. You can't really put it back in the box. That's why they're trying so hard to stop it, because they know once it's done, literally 32 out of 33 Western developed countries have it, understand it, know how to use it, and have better healthcare systems than we do for all of their citizens. But people will try and say, but we have the best healthcare in the world, only for rich people. But that's true. If you are rich, you don't need to leave America. You have great healthcare. If you're not, you probably have actually not gone to the doctors at times you should have, because you were worried about the cost. Anyway, we're going to leave it there, Giddy, unless you had another question.
No, I do, but just leave it there. I'll think on things.
Word. All right. Talk to you later.
Bye, Giddy.
Bye, Giddy. Just going to try something here. Okay. Let's talk to Jaden in Missouri. Jaden, how are you? I'm okay. What are you calling about?
Wait, I don't hear Jaden.
Okay, hang on a second. Hang on. Let me fix this. Sorry, Alyssa's going to cheer you. We'll start over here. Jaden in Missouri. Jaden, I think, is a joke caller, though. Jaden, you're calling to say Santa Claus is real?
Yeah.
Okay, but obviously no one here actually believes you believe that.
Okay, why?
No,
why do you think so?
Who was that guy that came in my house and diddled me?
Okay, bye.
Exhausting. There's a TikTok live for that. Don't do that here.
What a waste.
Boring.
Okay, one second.
What a waste. So boring.
Leek in New Jersey. You're on the line with Alyssa and Jimmy. How are you, Leek? Leek in New Jersey. Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, what?
I don't hear him or them.
Yeah, I know, because I'm doing a tricky thing here.
Okay.
You're saying you would like me to debate? I'll put him on. I'll put him through. Okay, Leek, you want me to debate Jimmy Dore, right?
On Trump.
Okay.
On Trump and the Democrat Party.
Great. Now, Leek, start here. Who is Jimmy Dore? Wait, the fuck? He hung up. He literally just called to go debate Jimmy Dore. And then hung
Jimmy
up.
Dore?
I don't know who the fuck. I've heard the name from time to time, but Leek, wait. Leek, I hope you're listening right now. One, I don't actually know who Jimmy Dore is, but I'm aware that I've seen the name around. Two, why should I? You aren't brave enough you called in and gave a fake prompt that you were going to defend that Donald Trump was a better president than Biden and Obama combined, which is already going to be a thing that's going to be annoying to me, because it's like, okay, he wasn't better than them, but that doesn't mean that I think Obama or Biden were good presidents. Like, better than Trump, if that's the standard for good, they were excellent. But they're both war criminals. They both perpetuated money in politics. They both kept the healthcare system for profit. They both made promises to relieve people and redistribute wealth from the very wealthy and get the wealthy to pay their fair share and try to get the economy to balance out, and did none of those things. So I don't think Biden and Obama, but you basically you were going to defend that Trump was better, which he didn't do any of those things, but you're not actually brave enough to call in and actually have the debate that you're claiming you want to have. You just want to call in and say, debate Jimmy Dore. If Jimmy Dore wants to call the show, I will debate him. Jimmy Dore, call the show and I will debate you. I don't give a fuck. I'll debate anybody. They just have to call. I'm not doing it for their fucking pockets. And I think Jimmy Dore, based on the fact that I've seen his name enough, I imagine that this is like one of the rich conservative people. I don't have the ability to just go get these people to debate. But if he wants to do it on this platform, on my channel, fucking I'll do it. I don't give a fuck. Unless he's like a Nazi who's going to be like trying to gather all the Nazis. But I don't know who the fuck Jimmy Dore is. Who is Jimmy Dore, people? Famous comedian.
Oh,
is Jimmy Dore a comedian?
He used to, apparently. Comedian who comments as a right-wing pundit. He used to host on The Young Turks. Used to be a leftist.
Okay. Well, you tell him to call in. I don't give a fuck. I just hope he's not as big of a coward as you are, who called in to fight and then apparently was actually calling in to tell us who you'd like to fight on your behalf.
You know what I would love more than anything in this whole world is if we got because I don't know if you know, I don't remember if you were like in the conversation when we talked about this. Me and Eve both got invitations from the Whatever podcast. I don't know if you've heard of these fuckers. Yeah, okay. So what I would love more than anything is to have a debate of the Whatever podcast versus The Line. Like, and have me, Eve, and you, or like whoever else would want to come on and debate those fuckers. That would be like the best like table debate ever. It would just feel so lovely.
I guess I just don't respect the guy who runs that thing. Because he acts like he's like, I have all these sophisticated things, and then as soon as like a girl gets one over on him, he just starts like going completely. You can like the mask comes off, and he's like, "You're a fucking degenerate slut. You fucking show your pussy to strangers. You fucking like you're just like fucking." Here's the thing.
I feel like I have done enough emotional jujitsu on the people who call chewed gum that type of stuff doesn't, and also like because of the type of comments and stuff I get on my own social platforms, I don't really feel like that stuff affects me. Like, it doesn't activate me that much. So he can say all of that stuff to me, and I would be able to be level-headed enough to be like, and where does that come from exactly? Like, what do you gain by saying that versus responding to what Eve said or what Promise said? Like, what, you know what I mean? And so I feel like the whole thing is, it's less about the debate that you have with the person at that time and more about what happens when they post. Because, like, in reality, you're not going to go on the whatever podcast or talk to this whatever door person and win them over. That's not going to fucking happen. But what matters more is, it's for the audience, is when they post that shit that, like, whatever, people see it and either you change their minds or you give some really great argument to someone who has those kinds of conversations in real life. And now they have great ammunition.
Yeah, that whole podcast also is set up in a like, we're going to bring a bunch of statistics with us that they're not prepped for or anything. We're also going to, it's trying to get you in like, oh, I'm not prepared for this specific, but I have to take your word for it on this shit. And the whole thing's dumb.
Yeah. No, but see, like that I wouldn't let fly. Like I wouldn't let that fly. Like I think doing chewed gum as long as we have, like there's no way that I let that fly. And knowing that
personally,
I
don't think it's a matter of letting it fly though. I think I think the whole thing is set up in a way that the way they're going to clip it and stuff, that it would be most of the stuff that would go out. Your actual appearance will be seen by far fewer than the clips that they put out that make it look like not only that they got one over on you, but that you not letting it fly just makes you look like a hysterical woman who doesn't want to engage with the stats. Like they clearly have smart, shitty people there to make women look bad. Yeah, because they're a bunch of fucking incel, MGTOW bitches. They can call in. Call in, whatever podcast.
I would love if they did.
Rob Tahoe. Couldn't disagree with you more on your point. If you want to actually have that discussion, though, you need to call in. But the idea of balancing what's right and what society will allow, and then using the example of a civil war over something no one's launching a civil war over, but we should still fight for. No offense, whatever invites Andrew Wilson to their podcast frequently. Andrew is more skilled in debating than anyone on the line. Okay.
No.
You're also wrong, but I don't know who Andrew Wilson is. I mean, maybe Andrew Wilson is the greatest debater of all time, but
I think he is one of the hosts of that show. And you also have to understand that this is a show that he preps for and has edited to make him look good. And at the end of the day, like the people who are fans of that podcast are not going to be fans of mine no matter what. So I'm not trying to win over their fans. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I think, I don't know. I like, ultimately, I don't really know that there's that much of a point because at the end of it, like they're going to edit it the way that they want to and make us look however they want to. And it just kind of like is what it is.
That's kind of what I mean. Yeah. It's they don't care. Even if you win, a very small group of people on Reddit will be excited by that. But the clips that go viral that will make it worse. And the biggest thing that they are doing is they're trying to indoctrinate teenage boys, which is turning out to be easy and lucrative because when they get a little bit older, if you've directed who they're going to hate, they vote the way you want them to vote.
That's a big problem. I think, actually, offline at some point, Jimmy, I want to talk to you about that because
that's who Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson is not better at that debate than anybody on the line. I watched that guy melt down over the fact that he wasn't able to change the debate topic to what he wanted it to be when he agreed to a debate with Matt, said it would be on a certain topic. At the beginning goes, I'm actually fine with just conceding the whole debate and giving him, if that's what he wants. Instead, I want to debate why. And so he wanted to do a debate about Matt being dating a trans woman and wanted to make the debate basically about the identities of trans people when that wasn't what the agreed upon topic was. So clearly he prepared for a different debate because he knows that's what's going to get him good clips, but also did it on like a fucking really shitty debate channel in the first fucking place. Like that's the guy you think is better. First of all, I don't think most of you have ever seen me debate because I actually don't do any formal debating online. I did one or two early on and back then I did suck. But as far as like people on this, the worst debater on this channel, and I know who it is, would be better. I'm just kidding. I don't have anybody specific in mind, but would do better than Andrew Wilson is not a top tier debater. What the fuck? Yeah, Andrew Wilson is what a chronically on Reddit person thinks is a good debater. Hilarious. Does it really? It says the title says that 2004 in it. God, I'm glad it's not 2004. Someone said that.
Oh yeah, it does say 2004. That's funny.
Hilarious. I'll give Arden shit for that. All right, well, we're gonna quickly run through a couple more calls and then call it a night here. Well, let me see. What do we have time for and what's on the line? Okay, I'm just gonna say, Matthew in California, we have a show on Thursdays, and there will be one this Thursday that's specifically about trans topics, and it's hosted by trans people. That's who I would advise you to call.
Yeah, I love Takis. I listen to their videos. I just can't make Thursdays, but it's a great show, and I've really been appreciating.
And so your question is, you just are asking what AFAB and AMAB means?
I'm asking about it because it doesn't make sense to me, and I'm trying to understand.
When you are born, somebody looks at your genitals and on that basis assigns you a sex. It isn't actually what your sex is, but it certainly is. It is also isn't what your gender is. Gender identity is separate from sex.
Right.
Sex is actually more complicated than it turns out, and for most people will have the same gender identity as what they are. So that person who looks at your genitals at birth and assigns you a sex for your birth certificate, that is what your assigned at birth sex is. So I was born and they saw, I'm sure it was a very unimpressive dick and balls on me. And they went, well, I mean, because nothing's changed. Anyway, unimpressive dick and balls on me and went, this is a male. So I was assigned male at birth. And conceivably somebody else would be assigned female at birth, dependent on whether or not their genitals were impressive. I mean, different.
Yeah.
I thought
I understand that there's a distinction there because I have been looking into it.
Yeah.
At least a little bit. But what I don't understand, and I'm definitely on the leave trans people to fuck alone bandwagon now. I understand that, but what I don't understand is that these two things are still obviously closely related, and I imagine that has to do with why like a person who is trans who is now identifying differently would, at least some of them would want to do something like gender affirming surgery, which I'm very in support of because I've seen the data on it. It makes people happier and healthier.
I don't actually understand what you're saying. You don't understand. A person doesn't usually they don't go around and go, my identity is this and I'm assigned male at birth. Usually that's more of like, it's basically a medical term or a term that
I don't understand, like, just looking at the assigned male at birth, assigned female at birth thing, right? Like, it seems to me that just like male or female, like I thought that was just like an observation, like we're just looking at like some trait about a person, and I don't understand what the assigning
because sex is more complicated than that, but gender identity is more important than that, and it's basically a way where people are going to it's good. Largely, what I think you are referring to, while it is more useful than that, if a woman walks into a clinic and she was assigned male at birth, they might ask, what is your assigned at birth sex on it? And then she would mark male. But that's it, as far as the language goes, there's going to be people who just look at the way a lot of really shitty men like to call women females instead of women, for example. There's a way that these words are being used, and it's just a useful term that really isn't necessary for most conversations. And the fact of the matter is when a person is describing their trans experience, what they may also be describing are biological facts about their gender identity that are also biological facts about their sex, even though they're assigned at birth things. So, for example, people who have died, that when they look at their brain matter resembles more what they identified as than they're assigned at birth. Well, if your brain matter is female, but you're assigned male at birth, I don't think it's fair to say, yeah, but you were male, because a biological fact about you is still female. It's just that your sex characteristics, these specific ones down between your legs where the cum and the pee and all that stuff happen, somebody identifying that shouldn't supersede that. So it's just a way of further clarifying and expressing that this is more of a complicated situation than what the movie Kindergarten Cop says is true of all. Boys have a penis, girls have a... It's more complicated than that.
Yeah, I definitely agree that the sex itself really doesn't matter. And that's one of the things that got me out of the alt-right pipeline. I consumed so much of that content for years. Like, looking back, it seems incredibly stupid, but yet that is where I was for years.
I got
and
you.
One of the things that got me out of there was realizing that this doesn't fucking matter. Like, what do I care what do I care what someone's genitals are? Like, that's not harming anyone. These people aren't a threat, right? And we
do got to move along here, Matthew, just because we're at the end of the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking my call anyway. So
thanks, Matthew.
I didn't waste your time.
No worries.
Thank you, Matthew.
Right.
Have a good one. Cool. I have some doubts about these.
I'm scared.
Let's see. Hey, Victor, we just don't really have time for this call, so we just call back on Sunday, please.
Okay, that's fine.
Thanks, Victor.
Thanks, Victor.
How much time do you have? Do you need to get moving?
Yes, and I have to pee so bad.
I also have to pee so bad. Why don't we take turns peeing?
Really? Okay, can I pee first?
Yes, you go pee right now. I'll start one of these calls, and you go pee, and then I'll pee. Okay. David in California. I'm very confused by your notes here. David, what are you here to talk about? Hi.
Right? Or
okay, one second. Sorry, I actually have to start it over. David in California, you are on the line with Jimmy and soon to be Alyssa again. No, so it sounds like the first thing you asked is if this is a Christian podcast. Have you never watched this show before?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
It is not. We are both atheists, and we take calls from people about religion and what they believe and why they believe it. And so tonight, for example, we were letting people call in and defend that they believe there's a war on Christmas.
A what on Christmas?
A war on Christmas. There are certain religious people who believe that there's a war on Christmas.
There is no law. There is no law. War. There is no war on Christmas.
Good enough.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, you're good.
I misspoke.
You're good. If you want to call in,
there's no war on Christmas.
If you'd like to call in and have a discussion with why you believe in God and see if you can, we don't. I would suggest you call this Sunday. We love having those conversations. Tomorrow we're going to do like a Christmas event, just like hang out and have fun and stuff. But you could call in next Sunday if you were interested.
Okay, for sure. My bad.
No, you're good.
Don't mean to interrupt your show, bro.
You're all good. Thanks, David. Weirdly, the last call is also a caller named David from California, so we'll see how that goes.
Hey, fair enough. I'll try to stop back in.
Would love that. Thanks, Dave.
Take care.
You missed it. The last caller thought we were a Christian call-in show. I'd never seen it before and was like, is this, want to talk about the recursive? It's kind of funny, kind of adorable. Anyway, I told him to call back Sunday.
Okay,
never seen the show.
I'll have to. I need to listen to their call.
But the next caller literally has the same name and location. But maybe. We'll see. I want to see something. David in California, you are on the line with Jimmy and Alyssa. Hi, David.
I was one of your favorite Republicans because I'm in California.
Maybe. And did I say, I think I remember that I'm really glad your vote didn't count, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Well, you won anyway, so.
Yeah, I just wanted to rub it in. I'm glad Trump won.
That's what you called in, to rub in that Trump won?
Yeah. And the
wait. So David,
well.
So David, let me tell you this. If Harris had won, I would not have been excited for the suffering of Republicans. I would not have been excited for the distress. I would not have been excited that somebody might feel like their rights are in danger. But I'll let you keep in mind that, David, there weren't really rights in danger for the Republicans. There are rights in danger for people because the Republicans won, and that's causing people distress. I would have continued the work of trying to not only convince Republicans that they're on the wrong side of things, but also that Democrats are on the wrong side of things. And I would have tried to push the parties, all people, to giving a crap about workers' rights and healthcare for them and their family. Because I'm done with this whole, that's socialism thing. I'm now, my political movement or my political association isn't socialism, leftism, anything. Now it's taking care of my familyism. That's my new political party. Familyism is what it is. And I want your family to be taken care of. If you get sick, if your family gets sick, I want whatever job you work at, that the person there can't exploit your labor and not pay you a fair wage to where you can live, that if you show up for 40 hours a week, you should be able to afford to live a reasonable life in a country that has the resources to do it. But David, you know what I wouldn't have done? I wouldn't have gone out of my way to call you and be like, ha, 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 we won, you lost. I know you hate this and that this sucks and that you guys are scared, and I'm excited about that. And so, David, what you are telling me is, you're still a shitty person with a shitty political view that you want to foist and force upon others, and that it excites you that people are genuinely distressed about the next 4 years and that you delight from that. You remind me of those asshole Christians who say that they're going to laugh while they watch other people burn in hell, that they're going to be excited to see those people tortured for eternity.
This is I'm really not like that. I like some of the other hosts that are on your show, and I just sort of, we talked about this before. I think that a lot of Republicans, especially if you got to look at the last 50 years, have been kind of on the socialist side. I mean,
good.
No.
I wish. There definitely aren't, but I wish.
I definitely aren't. David,
and
why?
I don't. You took that. Go ahead. I don't want to say you took that the wrong way, and I want you to go to heaven.
You called to rub it in, David.
What's the
right way?
That's how most liberals are. Most liberals,
they aren't.
You got to admit, most people.
David,
listen, I mean, you just got to look on CNN.
David, I'm not a liberal. I'm not a liberal.
That they're on.
I'm not a liberal, David, and I don't agree with you.
No,
I'm not.
David, consider this for a moment.
You can't convince anybody that you're not.
Yes, I can.
David, consider for a moment, because I think you and Jimmy could go back and forth all day, and like, while I'm sure that would be very fun, I don't think that that's very productive. What I would like to draw your attention to is when people who are voting Democratic vote, many times they are voting for the rights of people that are not themselves. We are voting for people like I am not trans, but I
used to be a Democrat.
So hang on one second. Hang on to this thought, okay? So if I am a person who is voting for the rights of others, and when my candidate loses, I am deeply hurt emotionally, because I know that I'm a white woman. And I present as a white straight woman. So I know that my rights are probably not going to be as greatly affected as a big group of people in this country. But it was very emotional when Trump won. So you are a theist, which means you believe in God. And that would imply that you should have some sort of empathy towards other people, care and compassion and empathy for other people. But in this circumstance, you see people in pain. You see people who voted for others that are not within their own interest, is for the interest of others. You acknowledge that. I vote for people that are unlike myself, the protections of people unlike myself. And you called this show to gloat about how my candidate lost, but you're also saying that you're a theist. And so I just think that that's really interesting. And so I feel like this is a moment of reflection for you, because you are saying that you believe in a God. I'm going to make an assumption that is going to be some sort of Christian or Catholic God. And that would imply that you are supposed to have the care and compassion of others be a priority to you. And yet, a party who votes for the rights and interests of people unlike myself lost. And not only did you not vote for that person, you voted for someone else. You also called into a show to gloat about the pain and suffering that we feel on behalf of our loved ones. Democrats pretty consistently vote for we versus I. And Republicans vote for I, thinking when I take care of myself, I can take care of we.
What's funny though is they actually fucked that up.
Worked.
They actually fucked that up
Yes.
because if you voted I, you would vote socialist. David,
Right.
what is a liberal?
Okay. Boy, what is a liberal? A liberal, okay, it's really changed, definition. But
A simple answer is fine.
Okay, when I grew up, it was more of a communist,
Nope.
somebody who's a little bit more, wait a minute, you asked me, let me finish. Somebody
There are different
maybe you could say a
words
little
for
bit more
those things for a
open-minded.
reason.
Okay.
I am asking you.
and
Okay,
if you're
listen,
talking-
Dave, let me clarify because you're trying to go up with an abstraction of what you think a liberal is. And I told you I'm not a
Right.
liberal when you try to call me one. Liberal has always referred to a part of a political party. So let's start here. With a liberal in American politics, which party are they, Republican or Democrat?
They're usually Democrat. Yeah.
Yes,
I'll say
correct.
that.
There is such thing as a liberal Republican, but you're right. They are usually Democrat, right? Which policies are they usually aligned with? Democratic policies, progressive policies? What policies would you say they align with the most?
Okay, I want to ask if you're referring to like minorities.
I am asking about when you say I am a liberal, you are referring to a political affiliation, and I said I am not, and you said you can't convince anyone you're not, yet I've already done a poll, and over, 150, nearly 200 people have said that no, he is not a liberal, because not only am I not a liberal, I oppose liberalism. I am against liberalism. Because liberalism is putting
You're
stop
a left
talking.
winger, but you're not
Stop
a liberal.
talking.
Is it?
I'm not done.
Okay, go ahead.
Liberalism isn't on the left. Liberalism is on the right because liberalism is fundamentally capitalist. And I am not a capitalist. I am a socialist. And liberalism is anti-socialist. I am very much not a liberal. Liberalism puts Band-Aids on gushing wounds. Liberalism goes, oh, you're dying and bleeding out? Here's some Neosporin. And I am against that. I am for actually stitching up the thing. I'm not for tax subsidies to for-profit companies that right now, every time you give them $1, you get 45 cents of benefits back, and they get to make hundreds of billions of dollars every year in profit, and next year they'll profit more if they figure out how to give you 44 cents back instead of 45 cents. And yet that is the system we live in, and I think that's bullshit. I think we should I think you should give the $1 and you should get back as much as that $1 minus administration costs, essentially, in benefits, whereas they're getting billions of dollars of profits. I believe that you, David, should have access to the best healthcare, no matter what your economic status is. I think you should not be allowed to be exploited by your employer. And I think you should have equal access to opportunity, no matter what race you were born, what religion you practice, what gender you are, what sex you were born, any of those things. I want as good, and I want to fix the fact that right now wealth distribution is so insanely unbalanced, it's actually immoral. The fact that the owner of a company can make several thousands times, tons and tons of money for themselves, but their employee that works full-time may still have to get government assistance, that is immoral. That's what I believe, and all of that is not what liberals believe.
Okay, so liberals are also for, having the government giving them more power in a way, having, especially the federal government. It's telling the businessman who you can hire, who you can fire, what, the Incorrect. Environmental laws. Okay.
None of what you're describing is correct. And in fact, the biggest expansion of government happened under Trump, not Biden. He is literally talking about sweeping powers. He used executive orders like crazy, like no one has ever used. He is right now talking about bypassing all kinds of state governments.
He's not been as president yet.
He already was president and already expanded the size of the government. And now he's going to do it again and say, we're going to go into states and force them to treat their immigrants certain ways. We're going to send the National Guard to states to basically fight the states. You're talking about, you want to talk about big government stuff. Again, I'm not a liberal, and I do think that they do some dumb stuff when it comes to the government. I want the government, as far as my personal life goes, to stay out of it as much as is reasonably possible. If I'm not hurting anybody else, stay the fuck away from me. And that way I'm a small L libertarian. The government should be there to make sure that you cannot exploit other people, hurt other people, and that if we have this bundle of thing we call money, and let's call money what it really is, security. If you have money, you have security. And the amount of security your family has, David, is dependent mostly on what situation you were born into. And you are going to probably die the same economic class that you were born into, whether you're poor, rich, middle class, whatever. There is a ball of security out there. And there are a few people hoarding almost all of the security and making the rest of us fight over the security and fight each other and try to elect the people and go into these tribes in this group where we're all fighting over the little bit of security, and then call in and gloat, haha, my guy got in, which also, by the way, my guy got in, which means that little ball of security that we get left to fight over will actually get smaller, and the billionaires will get a bigger ball of security. Ha ha ha, my guy won and your guy didn't. You have been fucking scammed from the moment you were born by being told that America is this great, prosperous, wonderful place where anybody can be anything, and that the American dream is great. The American dream doesn't give a fuck about you. They care that you pay your taxes and that they can redistribute your wealth. I'm going to presume you're not a millionaire or a billionaire, David. And if you're not, your wealth is being redistributed to rich people, not welfare recipients, not immigrants, not poor people. Elon Musk is getting more of your dollars than any of those fuckers, David. And that's why I am not going to get down with this. Like, I'm not that kind of guy and I'm calling into gloat. I'm not a fucking liberal. I'm certainly not a fucking Republican. I'm a let's take care of my fucking familyist, and neither of your parties can get us anywhere near that. Last thoughts, and then we're ending the call.
Okay. I got so many things to say about. So you don't believe in the American dream, which means you cannot pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Correct.
And also, I want you.
Correct.
I want you to look.
You are correct. You cannot pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you weren't born with bootstraps. In America, you have to have been born with bootstraps to pull yourself up. There will be people who will be the exception, but for the most part, if you are born in America, the descendant of slaves, you will probably be poor in America no matter how hard you work, period. If you are born in America in a poor family, you will be poor no matter how hard you work. There will also be systems in place that will do dumb things like convince you to have children at a young age. One of the biggest ones is called Christianity. And that is going to keep you in your economic status and in your place, which is why the government loves protecting Christianity, because it keeps you in the place you need to be in for them to succeed. And that fucking shit is working against you. It is poisoning your mind and making sure that you vote against your interest. The idea that you think Trump gives a fuck about you is as laughable as me thinking Kamala Harris gives a fuck about me. Both of those would be a fucking joke. Neither of them do, but one would have been better than the other and would have at least gotten us a little bit closer. And you, instead of voting for the person who would have kept the two balls roughly the same size, maybe even given a little bit of the billionaire security to the rest of us, maybe a tiny bit, would have still been better than what's about to happen, which is more tax cuts and more deregulation, which will allow more worker abuse and less security for you and your family, David. Literally, I remember us talking and talking about, I think you were one of the ones we talked about grocery prices and stuff, and that's a big thing. And Donald Trump has already now said, after promising and anchoring his thing that he was going to lower the prices of groceries so you could afford them again, one of his first interviews, well, you know, it's very hard. Once they're up, you can't really get them back down. The motherfucker's not going to do shit, and he's never going to care about you and your family.
And he slowly has been admitting that he lied the whole time. Like, this is stuff that you can easily find. He talked about the grocery prices, he talked about the gas prices, and he talked about tariffs. He lied about all of that. And then he admitted it after he won. It's not hard to
I
find.
haven't heard him admit it that he.
David,
lied,
it's literally in his interview.
Do a Google because you'll find it. You'll find it, and it's horrifically disappointing.
I'd like to
Google
ask
it.
Jimmy that the federal government, has. Okay, like I think I've said this before about Medicare is a government. It's handed out hundreds of billions of dollars. I mean, they're not perfect, but I mean, isn't that good? And Social Security.
Yes, and everyone should have Medicare. Everyone should have it. In America, we right now, here's why we don't have universal health care. Because if you go and you try to run on it, the Republicans are going to go, they're going to try to make you pay $2,000 a year for this. You can't afford that. And people are going to go, yeah, I can't afford another $2,000 a year. And they're not including the part where, by the way, you will then also not have to pay $6,000 a year in premiums. And by the way, if you're in these different tax classes, your taxes aren't actually going to go up at all. That $2,000 number is a per person, and per person, we are paying much more than that right now for healthcare. 33 developed countries, 32 of them have figured out how to do universal healthcare, and their healthcare systems are rated with higher satisfaction. One developed capitalistic country doesn't do it. It's fucking ours, and this is why we have the best healthcare in the world if you make above $400,000 a year. If you make less than that, I think in the like 100 to 400,000, you get mediocre. And if you make less than $100,000 a year, you are comparing your healthcare needs to like third world countries. Almost all people in America, it's something like 85%, have reported that they haven't gone to the doctor when they needed to because of the cost, because they were worried they couldn't afford it. More than 50% of Americans have not gotten a procedure a doctor has said they need. And by the way, we just saw this shit with United Healthcare to try and get you less, lower that 45 cents back you get in benefits. They're allowed to do things like create an AI system which rejects 90% of claims offhand, out of pocket. That's fucking crazy, David. And the Republicans are definitely not going to do anything about it. The Democrats would have at least taken a step in that direction, and hopefully we could have built on that. But now we're also going to have to worry about how much more radicalized the Supreme Court will be. Anyway, David, I already told you that was going to have to be the end of the call. You asked questions instead of making a point. But we'll talk again another day when we have more time.
Okay, I'll call. Okay, I'm glad you're a little bit civil there towards the end, but I don't wish anybody harm, obviously, and I just said that because you just said obviously, and some terrible things about Republicans and right.
Yeah, Republicans are horrible. You don't even realize that you are supporting fascism, that you are supporting the downfall of your people. Because I assume David, you are middle class or lower. Republicans are gonna fuck you in a way that is violent. You are going to get fucked.
Look up the statements that Donald Trump made about grocery prices, about gas prices. Look up what economists have said about tariffs, and look up the charts that have been created about the groups, the socioeconomic groups that will be affected by Donald Trump's tax proposals. Look those up. Like, truly take time. Even if you don't call back and you tell us how it goes, for your own self-interest, look that up, because you're going to want to prepare for what's going to happen in the next 4 years.
Yeah. Harris already lost. I can't relitigate it, David. So my apology to you is I'm sorry about what's about to happen to you, because I actually do well enough that I'll be okay. I'll actually do fine under Trump. You won't.
Slay.
You're fucked, and your family's fucked. Sorry, David. Bye.
No.
You're fucked and your family's fucked. Sorry, David. Bye.
I had nothing to say beyond that. It's literally like these people who are like, isn't this what the fuck around and find out thing on TikTok is right now, where people are realizing like, holy shit, I voted for the demise of my family. What the fuck did I do?
Yeah, it's tough because I go back and forth between wanting to have that sort of like fuck around and find out, like, you created this situation, and now here we are.
No, I feel horrible
then
for
also, and also feeling like this is a person who called to gloat about Trump winning, but has no idea that Trump literally said that all of the things that he promised his campaign during his campaign, he can't do them.
Yeah,
and this person doesn't even know that.
I just
crazy.
I can't do it. I can't do it with these people where it's like
just there's only so much gentle parenting that you can do for other adults before it's like I hit a wall. But I don't know.
We've got to get going here, people. I purposely didn't promise super chats tonight, but I will highlight a few of because a few of you did still send some. I'm going to do any that are above. What do you have? Like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Do you even have 5? Okay.
Sure.
We'll do any.
Yeah.
We'll read the ones that are above $10 just to get something out because. But
I love super chats.
And thank you everybody who's bought mugs so far. Go buy more mugs. There's a link down in the description. It is a contest. We'll have like a scorecard up tomorrow and stuff. Go buy my mug. I actually don't, and buy Alyssa's mug. I don't care about the other mugs.
Buy my mug. I Heart Promiscuous Women is amazing.
That would make a good shirt for sure.
It's so good.
We want a good line of merch with that. That'd be fucking great.
I know.
Tammy B says, hi, host and line chat. Jimmy question, but if you could kindly tell others, though, probable cause of my fashion choice is fear today, and you know why I'm scared of Hank the penis stabber, so it's not a rhetorical question or request. I don't know that I understand this at all.
I don't know what's going on.
Did I just have a stroke? Hi, host and line chat. Jimmy question, but if you could kindly tell others through probable cause of my fashion choices, fear today, and you know why I'm scared of Hank the penis. I remember Hank the penis stabber. So it's not a rhetorical question. I just don't remember. I think you're referencing more, and I'm really, really lost. I'm so sorry, Tammy.
I am not sure, but thank you so much for that very generous
I hear
super
your dog
chat.
snoring. It's fucking hilarious. Yes, thank you so much, Tammy. You're amazing.
This one.
I wish I could answer. I just don't know.
Very small, very loud. Yeah, the chewed gum, like the regulars, they know. They see her and they're like, oh, there she is. It's funny.
You didn't even compliment me on my merch today.
No, I love your merch so much. It's so good. It's so good. And I'm sorry, the I Heart Promiscuous Women mug is the best one. Like, sorry. It just is.
I like mine.
Whatever.
Literally the worst host on the line.
$10 from Traden. I'm ex-Seventh-day Adventist and have been feeling religious trauma lately. So much triggers it. I feel trapped mentally. I'm afraid of both being wrong and going back to that abusive ideology. I am sorry that you feel that way, especially this time of year. I'm sure it's really hard. But I always recommend that people join the Patreon because then you get access to a Discord and there's so many people. Like, finding community is something that we as human beings have kind of lost in the sauce a little bit. And we're like the most connected and least connected we've ever been. And so joining the Patreon, like, obviously, yes, it supports the channel and yes, it's like good for us, like Jimmy and I and the whole channel, but it is like, for people who are going through things like this, it is such a great resource to just find community in there. And also, there is also a charity. What is the name of the charity?
I was just going to say, go to recoveringfromreligion.org and get in those groups real quick. Like, that's what you need to do like immediately. Go, because you'll find others at Seventh-day Adventists and go talk that out with people who've been there.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. And 7 years ago. The Raven 200 said, Ulrich is squirming after being called out, gets called out, resorts to bigotry like a goof. Jimmy, go take a blood demon art, Obi Assault by Daki, and a blood sickle onslaught by her brother, Gyutaro. I do think it's funny how many people think they understand my emotions at all. And I'm like, guys, I'm not on the spectrum. I am the spectrum. If you think you can interpret my like intensity as like anger or things that legitimately, I can appear so angry on the show. And then when I get off of the show, it's literally just like, I don't remember any of the stuff. I think people also think that I like argue the same way in person. Like that like, because I'm intense on the show, that if my girlfriend and I ever disagree, I'm just like battering her into submission, when literally my conflict resolution with people like I love and stuff doesn't resemble at all this debate show. I just think it's funny that people think they can say like, you're so offended. I was like, bitch, you can't offend me. Are you kidding me? Like, do you know the life I've had? Do you think some fucking stranger? I've been disowned by most of the people who ever loved me for being non-religious and shit. Like, you think like your fucking ass a few hundred or 1,000 miles. I don't know how far away his part of Mexico is from where I'm in Texas, but might not be that far. I wasn't expecting this to be. I literally drink. This is salt water, just so you know. It's like, it's a type of salt. I can't do sweeteners, but I need electrolytes for my stuff that happens gets me dehydrated really easy, and so I have to just take plain electrolytes. So it's Redmond sea salt, which has magnesium, potassium, sodium, chloride, and whatever the other one is you need in there. So it's electrolytes without any flavor or sweeteners, and it just tastes like salty water.
If you ever, I'm sure what you have is more like natural and pure, but there's also a company called Buoy, and they make unflavored electrolytes. It's buoy like an ocean buoy, and they also have a little thing that is like salt, like it's literally like you take a pinch, like it's good for people who have like POTS hypothetically. But
I think we're talking about essentially the same thing, because if there's no flavor at all in it, it's going to be salty. That's what no flavor. Electrolytes are, is salt.
I like they have like a squeezy bottle version of it, and because I'm 31, anytime I go drink literally anything, I feel hungover pretty much immediately. So I will bring that to like weddings and stuff, and I will use I'll put buoy in literally every single thing that I drink, and I will be
I'm like, it's the exact same stuff.
Yeah, it's great. Anyways,
I buy mine in a big old thing because I like to bulk buy to save money. Because I'm not rich like these assholes, and whoever at the beginning was talking about my money privilege. Fucking morons. Anyway.
Crazy.
I don't care if you're in our group. If you say fucking whack shit like that, I'm going to call you dum-dum. I think this is you, right?
Yeah, 10 Canadian dollars from Quantum Chaos. Happy whatever the fuck tomorrow means to you, my guys, pals, and non-binary pals. Thanks for getting me through an absolutely bananas 2024. Also, go fuck yourself, Jimmy.
Sorry to everybody who right now is having to listen to fucking weirdos be weirdos fighting about politics and shit. So they're like, you guys won. You guys won. Look, all you have to do now that you won is make the country better, and individual outcomes, not the stock market. Individual outcomes. Make more people better, and I'll go, okay, I'm glad you won. You won. Yep. You did better than what I expected. But that's not what's going to happen. If you are listening and you are middle class or lower, you are fucked. You are fucked. You are fucked. You are really, really fucked. Good luck. There will obviously,
You're
obviously
giving
there's going to be
anxiety.
There's going to be a couple of people who will be the exception and whatever. At least you're in a state that has some better safety net programs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Draven Dresden says, because of the war on Christmas, I will only say this. May the convergence of arbitrary dates and human traditions result in an unparalleled atmosphere of collective happiness and cheer. I don't know. Be careful. Ben Shapiro might adopt that and put it on every Christmas, like he does his dumb joke every year on Mother's Day of Happy Unspecified Parents Day or whatever he calls it. Parent of Unspecified Gender Day, that he just thinks is so fucking funny. He's got the one joke and he will never not say it.
It's literally, these are the moments where nothing makes people like that more upset than just being like, you're a fucking nerd. Like, you're a loser.
I
like that makes
loser,
them way more upset.
Let's not degrade nerds. I'm a nerd.
Well, no, but I get it, and also but it makes them way more upset when you call them something like that. Then, like, if you're gonna call them like you're a fucking, I don't know, racist or whatever it is, like they immediately, it doesn't mean anything to them, but you're like, you're a fucking loser. Then they are so upset by it.
I like bitch.
Losers,
you're a little bitch.
So good. But even that,
they're like, oh, you won't say that because that's an offensive. I'll fucking say it. I'll call you redacted. What? People thought I was going to say something else.
I'll call you redacted.
That's my new favorite.
Redacted is good. Yeah. $10 from Jemnik06. Karaoke, I love it. I sang Metallica's One recently while also rocking out on a blow-up guitar. No one was impressed. Even the girl I took home was a blow-up. Oh my God. Hashtag toys are fun. Hashtag not kink shaming. I love karaoke. I am the person who does karaoke and everyone is tired of, because I'm actually pretty good at it. And I get it, but also it's my only time to shine. So you just have to let me have my diva moment and then we can move on. Okay.
I feel I'm also not king shaming, but people who have sex with blow up dolls, I feel that doesn't mean that they're attracted to people and therefore a blow up that is the shape of a person works. I think you have to be sexually attracted to pool toys to want to fuck a blow up doll. Cause it's just like,
yeah.
Every time I see
one,
a
really good imagination.
Yeah. Every time I see one, usually on like TV or something, I'm like, how does one fuck that? Especially when you hear the sound of
a lot of lube. A lot of lube.
One hopes. Otherwise, there's going to be burns. Cody Cooper says, sorry you guys had to deal with all these damn trolls and chatting on calls. People have no damn life. Boy, don't I know it.
$10 from Moira Bannister. Jimmy is so sexy.
Go to horny jail. I don't know what you're talking about. I got to tell you, I was looking at some photos of me earlier this year, and I kind of can't believe the difference, but also, man, not that no one should have reached out and been like, Jimmy, you're getting really unhealthy, because that wouldn't have helped. I needed to treat medical realities in my life, but at some point I'm like, God, why did I not treat some of this stuff way sooner? Because fuck it. I just look ill and unhappy in every photo from like January to May. And I was ill and unhappy. I'm still ill. I'm much more happy. Y'all, we're not going to go into it. We're definitely not going to publicize it, but Jimmy fell in love.
Oh.
Jimmy fell in love in 2024.
$10. Wait, is this you or me?
I don't
know. No, this is you.
Tammy B says, okay. I should just say I should not say anything, so I am, I think, anyways. Thank you, host, and all top show again. Tammy, I think you're trying to confuse me now. I think this is intentional.
I love it.
And then I think the last one just came, or Tammy said, shite, didn't mean to send previous chat, or did I? Shit, I'm serious.
Tammy.
And then Monkey at a typewriter. This one's used.
Yay. Monkey at typewriter, $10. I am so over these people who seem offended by the suggestion that they are obliged to think. David and Ulrich, like my vibes should be evidence. Got my Forest Promise, Alyssa, and Seth mugs.
Did no one buy my mug? So if no one bought my mug, I am quitting. I'm done. I'm done.
I want to know, did a lot of people buy my mug?
I don't know. Let's find out. We've got more really things curious. Coming in. I'm going to go pull it up. Here, why don't you read this while I'm pulling this up?
Okay. $10 from Jamnik06 at Alyssa Ljub. That's me. If you ever come to Orlando, there's an awesome live band karaoke show. I play drums for them a couple times a month. Oh, okay, that's really good to know. I don't have any specific plans right now to go to Orlando, but that is good to know. I love karaoke. I would love a live band karaoke, and
I wouldn't, because that means you're performing for like a whole theater of people, I think.
Oh, you have no idea. Like, I need literally like a single drop of alcohol and like 5 minutes of prep time mentally, and I'm up there and I'm having my diva moment, and you can't stop me. And
it's impressive.
And I will do that with Jamnik06, and I would love that so much.
Let's have a look. Let's see. Currently Alyssa's is winning with 12. I hope that is because it's chewed gum night. Promise is in second with 10.
Okay. Love it.
No one has bought my mug. I quit. You guys will never see my face again. No one. We're going to do a Christmas thing tomorrow. I'm done. I'm out.
Okay.
I'm out. 4 people bought Forest mug. Ugh.
Okay. Here's my thought. Because
my mug is so good.
My mug and Promise's mug are something outside of inside jokes in the show. And so I wonder if that's why. Because like, if I took out a mug and it just said like, I heart promiscuous women, it wouldn't matter like that it came from a show.
All elements are mine are from like shows. Like one was a comment.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You're saying yours has broad appeal?
Yeah. That's my thought. Yeah. I don't know if that's real.
Wait, can I?
That's my.
Yeah, it's got a lot of broad appeal.
It's got a lot of broad appeal.
You got a lot of broads appeal, more like.
the appeal of the broads.
It would be offensive. I'm low key from
one of my favorite memes that has ever existed is one where it's like it's like a Sopranos guy. I didn't actually watch The Sopranos because I don't have time for that. But it's like one of the Sopranos guys, and it's like they call it broad daylight because women bring light to the world, and it's just like him like this, and it just cracks me up every time.
Who would that have
Anyway,
even been? Was that
I
was
can
it the
find
guy?
it. I just found it recently.
I'm trying to think which character would have said that.
It's like any way I describe any one of them, I basically am describing like any of. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Let me, hang on one
That's
sec. I'm
the
pulling up
war.
the thing. Give me just another moment before you put it down because I'm doing a thing. Okay, that's actually who I thought it might be. I'm trying to remember what his name is, but he's that guy. That actor died this year.
Did he? Oh, that's
call it
sad.
Broad
But
daylight.
it's called broad daylight because women light up the world. That's so fucking funny.
I'm gonna show you all. This is the full design of mine. That's like
Sell
the wrap
it.
around. That's what's wrapping around the mug. Literally the worst host on the line. I just think that, and mine's the only one that features color photos, people. I just want to point that out, that nobody is buying mine. And this is really bad news for me and that it hurts my feelings. And I want to cry a lot now. And
goodness.
yeah. Okay. So just so you all know, this has ruined my life. I work so hard and nobody wants to buy. They all just want to buy Forrest's mug, Liz's mug. Olivia B said, I knew someone with a pendulum swing in their bedroom, just my periodic SC super chat trolling. Love you guys. Oh, that's sweet. I'd get down with a swing. Raven Judge said, Jimmy, go take 2 stink faces from Rikishi. That is all. Well, you could have, instead of super chatting that, Raven, you could have gone and bought 1 Jimmy mug. Maybe it's $16.66. Oh my God, still no one has. All right, well, if there's, I might be done. I think this mug is hilarious. Whatever. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I think it is good, but I'll be so honest, mine is better, and I'm so glad because when Arden texted me that we were doing a mug competition, I was like, I'll think about something. Like, I'll give you something in a couple of days, but this is what came to my head right away. And she was like, that's perfect. And I was like, great, okay. And you know what? It's so good. I love Promiscuous Women is so good.
By the way, Alyssa just confirmed she wasn't a fan last year because we did this last year. It was my big idea of last year. And so she didn't know about the mug brawl.
I don't remember that. I never watched anything live.
Yeah.
I've explained this 800 million times on this channel, and I feel like I've also explained this to you, Jimmy, that when I got on the circle and I got verified, I had like a hit list essentially of like people who I was like, when I'm verified, these are the people that I'm going to reach out to because I'll have the blue check. So like they'll see my DMs. And that list was quite literally Jimmy and maybe one other person.
Aww.
And then you posted something in your Instagram story that was like, you were looking for other like co-hosts for like a project you were working on, which later ended up being like, what is the live show network? Like the Line Network. And then, yeah. And like, you were literally like, you were number 1 on the hit list when I got verified. So I've been a fan forever.
I'm going to always pretend I've never heard the story every time. So you'll tell the whole thing because it makes me feel good.
Time.
Well, I think we finished making this piece of shit since nobody's going to buy them. Wait, did somebody finally say anything? I was like, oh, a sale just came in.
Is it for mine?
No, yes.
Yes?
Yeah. Yeah. It's for you. Okay, let's see.
I hope mine ends up winning just because I genuinely think
William, you're my hero. William bought one of mine and one of Promise's.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder if it's Monkey a typewriter, William. But
I don't know.
But
God, don't dox Monkey. Just kidding.
No, he has already. He said his name is Will. But I hope that mine wins because I genuinely think that would be such good year-round merch, and I think that everyone would love it. But whatever, it's fine.
That's true. That would make good year-round merch. Thank you, Aaron, who wrote, I love that you fell in love this year. Ugh, no one loves it more than me. Actually, the few people who get to know the deets, like Promise, like Alyssa, like my friend Joe, I think they like it a lot because they're all very like, they love the mushy stuff, and holy shit, am I good at the mushy stuff.
I love when you send us the mushy stuff. That's my favorite.
It was not a slight falling in love. It was an intense falling in love.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
That's my favorite. It was hard and fast.
Paul bought one and said, best mug ever. Totally agree. And Joshua grabbed 2 and said, okay, I had to grab one. But you grabbed 2. So you meant, oh, wait, you also grabbed one of Shannon's. That's okay. I forgive you. No, thank you so much. I'm wondering who the first person will be to buy the whole set. But tomorrow we'll have a little party, little Christmas party starting at 6 o'clock Central. And we'll be doing messages and stuff. And yeah, we'll hang out, play games, have fun, just sort of enjoy each other's company with everybody else who has to do shit on Christmas. But otherwise, we have completed making today's piece of shit. That's a little bit of an inside joke. I love you all, except for I don't know most of you, but I love the idea of you all. And I love you, Alyssa.
I love you so much. This whole channel and community means so much to me. And I get sappy now at the end of every Tuesday night because I just love it so much.
This is the closest a man on chewed gum will ever be. A man on the night of chewed gum wearing a chewed gum shirt. So I now need to go a size down. This is a size too big now. Did I tell you that?
It's crazy.
I was an XXXL, 3XL earlier this year. I am now down to just large. I've gotten rid of my X's. I've cut the XXX out of my life, but only in shirt sizes. Tons of porn still. All right, bye everybody. Do you get it? Do you get it though? Okay, bye. Last words, Alyssa.
I love you guys so much. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Mwah. Buy Jimmy's mug. Buy Jimmy's mug. Buy it. Buy it. Buy it. Buy Jimmy's mug. Buy the Jimmy 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 mug. Buy it. Buy the Jimmy mug. Buy it. Buy the Jimmy mug, buy it.